What up? Welcome to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We got so much to talk about as far as the Philadelphia Flyers go. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and let's go talk about it.
Let's go! This ain't the puck night! Boss is thinking he stinks!
Oh, shit!
It's gone!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Satsudi, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
What up?
And the one and only Broken One, Rob Povia.
No jokes this week, boys. This show is too important. Let's roll.
So today, tonight, we are going to be talking about the Flyers and the situation that has developed. But before we get into that, give you our show sponsor, Body Check Wellness. You could use the promo code A2D at the bottom for 25% off of your order. They were created and founded by Mr. Riley Cote, and they have a great line of products that are used for focus, clarity, balance in life. If you're on a diet or if you're just trying to get focused on an objective that you want to get done. You know, if say you want to wake up and you're like, you know what, I want to clean this room, but, you know, I don't feel that motivation. These are the kind of products that help you get that kind of motivation. So, and they have THC-free products because they do use hemp. So if you're a little nervous about it, you can ease yourself in with the THC-free and then go into the hemp products. Nonetheless, though, they are all really great for you, and they have nothing but benefits on your life and moving forward. All right. So, the poll question. Let's get into it, gentlemen. We might as well not waste our time. We go to the poll question, which is brought to you by Manscaped. Now, listen. There's one thing that this Flyers team is lacking. It's confidence. And if there's one thing that you shouldn't be lacking, is confidence. Because, you see, the ladies love confidence. But they also don't like something. And this something can kill confidence and kill their motivation for whatever you want right out of the gate. What is that, Brian?
You got some of that junk funk.
Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want it. Do yourself a favor, do everyone a favor, and do your lady a favor. Most important, get rid of the junk funk. Manscaped, that's where you need to go. They'll take care of you. And you can get 20% off of your order, free shipping as well with the A2D code, and you can unlock your confidence with Manscaped. All right, and the poll question is, the Flyers should trade everyone and start over. Essentially, as we like to call it in the sporting world, blowing it up. Agree or disagree? That is the option in front of us. Now, gentlemen, I will send it off to you. Do you think that it's time, the big red glowy nuclear button, is it time for the Flyers to hit that button? They've been ignoring it for a long time. Is it time to do it?
No, absolutely not. What have they been doing the last few years then, if this is the case? You know what I mean? They've been rebuilding for rebuilding for it feels like the last 5 or 6 years. This team isn't bad. This team just needs a culture change. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks. There's a lack of heart in this team. There's a lack of fight. And a lot of that could fall. Obviously, a lot of people thought it fell back on AV. A lot of people think it falls back on Giroux. We're going to find out if AV was a problem or not over the next couple of days. And if last night was any indication, that's probably a small part of it. But there's a huge culture issue with this team. I don't necessarily think they need to blow it up and start over, because they do have a lot of young talent. Not even everybody's up yet. They're not 100% healthy either. That is a huge aspect of why they're in a 9-game losing streak right now. But I think their biggest issue is finally out the door. I mean, would I've probably admitted it 2 weeks ago? No, probably not. Not AV at least. Michel Therrien, yeah, big problem. But I disagree. This team has been rebuilding. They're finally getting. I thought they were finally getting to the point where they are where they were supposed to be. I still think they are. They have a lot of talent on this roster. I just think they need the right coach that's going to help them clean up the shit that they've been putting out there. All the defensive turnovers, the failure in the transition. Finally get guys going and finishing checks, playing physically, playing with some form of heart, and trying to get that winning culture back, getting that Flyers hockey winning culture back. Could Michel be the answer? Maybe. We'll find out. But it's his job to lose. I don't necessarily blame the players on this one. I'm usually the first one to blame the players. You guys know we've been doing a show for 7 years together. So,
how many coaches have the Flyers gone through in those 7 years alone? I did the math. We've had 5 coaching changes in this past decade. 5. That is staggering. And you could go through any period in Flyers history. They never went through 5 coaches in a decade. Never. The most I think they had was maybe 3 coaching changes in any decade before.
It's a rough stretch, boys. Like, I'm not even going to sit here in front. It's a rough stretch. But every team goes through these stretches. Some figure it out a little bit sooner than others. Some use it and sink their season. But let's remember something here. The season's not even close to being over yet. They're not even halfway through the season. Let's remember what happened in St. Louis. St. Louis was in last place the year they won the Stanley Cup final.
True.
And then Craig Berube came in. And that team did a complete 180. So this coaching change could be a good thing. I think it's going to be a good thing. I think the sloppy play is going to come to an end because that's Mike Yau's system does not like sloppy play. And I think they're going to be just fine. I don't think they need to rebuild anything. And you might see some trades at the deadline anyway because, there's some expiring contracts. We'll see what happens. But no, I disagree with the poll. They don't need to blow it up. They don't. They have enough talent on this roster to win right now. Still.
Robbie, the floor is yours.
It's interesting that Brian took the take that many would think that I would take because I've been defending this core for 10 years. 7 of those on the show, right? Saying I'm a believer in G leading this team to hoisting the cup, believing in role players like Sean Couturier on this team, right? Guys of the past like Jake that are gone now, guys that were brought in like Cam Atkinson. And I'm going to surprise you and agree to this poll because of one thing that Maddie just said. 5 coaches with this core, and none of them were able to get the job done. Did AV and Michel Therrien need to be fired? 100%. We said it on the show. We said it on the show weeks ago, right? And it took a stretch like this where you have 8 consecutive losses at the time, but you have 3 days off to practice and get your shit together, which ironically was when I thought AV would have gotten the axe, would have gave a little bit more room for transition time for Mike Yao or Rick Tocchet. But anyway, I'm going to get there. Right? You come back and you lay up a 7-1 shitburger to Tampa Bay. They had no choice but to fire AV. And really the culprit, Michel Therrien, as we identified on the show, for the abysmal power play. Way too talented to be doing that, right? So something I have to finally admit it and take off my fucking homer hat. And G is not going to lead this team to a cup. He has one of those expiring contracts, going to be unrestricted free agent. You're seeing a level up in his play this year, playing up in that contract year. Move him now so you can get further pieces to bolster your Morgan Frost, your Wade Allisons, your Cam Yorks, right? Hopefully one of these fucking draft picks are going to work out because this team's been drafting as well as Howie Roseman. Let's call it like it is, right? Provorov got beat by Cale Makar last game. Like, it made Cale Makar, no disrespect to him, fabulous player, but it made him look like fucking Bobby fucking Orr on that play. And meanwhile, he was doing a pirouette, getting, his stick or his skate jammed into the ice. You have Travis Sanheim not living up to his draft expectations. You have Travis Konechny not living up to his the list. I can keep on going. Right. So that's why I'm agreeing with this poll, especially I've been saying, no, you do not trade G, you do not trade JVR. And that's exactly what you need to do at this point. You traded Derek Brassard, who was showing good effects. Hell, you might even trade a Kevin Hayes at this point, as much as I love him, for his brother Jimmy and for what he's done for this team. But that's what I'm saying. Maybe you keep a hold of a Sean Couturier to be the new captain of this team. But I don't even know about that because, is he really that great of a player? He looks like a fucking curmudgeon out there sometimes, right? Was showing very little skill, skateability in key situations. And for heaven's sakes, you saw G get beat like a rented mule last game too. So we could keep on pointing the finger and say, oh, the coach is the problem. The coach is the problem. It's deeper than that, boys. It's rotten to the core. It needs to get blown up, and it needs to. I hate to say it. This is a stance I never, ever, ever, ever thought I would take as a Flyers fan, and I'm making it.
So
I don't necessarily disagree with anything that you said there, Rob. But I mean, of the guys that you listed, I would still hold on to Giroux. I mean, I know what you're saying, but he's been the only one who's consistently had any kind of production throughout his entire career.
Get the value for it, though, Brian. Get the value for it now, because now are they going to even be able to afford Giroux? He could walk back to Ottawa next year. Why not trade him to Ottawa now and get some of their pieces? I'd love to get Stetzel, but that's not happening.
That's definitely not happening. But I mean, for me, it depends on where they are at the trade deadline. If they're in a position where they're not even close to making the playoffs, sell him, get Coots out of there, get TK for sure. TK's got to go.
Yeah, he's
a problem.
I'm officially off the TK bandwagon. I was like, no, this kid is never going to get it. He hasn't bounced back. Period.
For what Giroux has done for this organization, I don't necessarily know if I can necessarily just give up on him like that.
Oh, it's tough. He just passed, Bobby Clark for most power play points, and it's 5 behind Barber in second place in all time. You'd love for him to finish as a Flyer, but I don't think it's good for this team. You need a bigger center iceman, and whether that's Sean Couturier or somebody else maybe that you bring in, this team's too small, gets too beat. And as soon as the one thing that the Flyers had going for them, specifically before the pandemic stoppage, was they were a resilient bunch. They get down maybe 2 goals quick, and they come back and they ace your ass. They get all butthurt now, and it's like they check out. They're like, oh, we're just going through the motions, right? A lot of people want to point the finger at Carter Hart. A couple people that maybe broadcast on this station. Well, man, y'all need to get a clue and look at what's going on in front of them.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I'll leave that to you, Brian, because you made an excellent argument in the chat the other day.
No, and it's exactly what it is. Like, do you want to point the finger at Carter Hart for what? For the sloppy play for the defense in front of him? The turnovers? The
lack of offense?
That one goal against Tampa with the shitty stick handling again. You want to put that on him? God bless you. But how are you going to tear down a guy and say that he's a fraud? He's a bad draft pick when he's 23 years old and he's sporting 903 career save percentage. Save percentage
at 23.
And he made one mistake. He made one mistake on the stick handle, and all of a sudden he's got to go. Shut the fuck up. You're full of fucking shit. You're not a real fan. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like one mistake. I mean, for fuck's sake, he's not letting goddamn fucking beach balls into the back of the fucking net. I mean, seriously.
And he's played better this year.
He has.
He
has, and that's exactly the thing that.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
I'm sorry, Maddie.
Go ahead.
289 career goals against, 906 save percentage. 23 years old.
And think about that.
Stop it. It's people that want to talk hockey and don't know fucking hockey. I'm sorry. I'm in a bad mood because of the Flyers. It's not
go right ahead.
It's not because anybody's saying these things. I know we're all in despair. I get it. I'll let you off the hook. But stop it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a frustrating situation, and trust me, I've been there. Been there. I get it.
Now
But
here's
the thing. Here's the thing. A coaching change can do a lot for an organization. Because as you could tell through this 8-game losing streak that AV lost the locker room. He lost Giroux. He lost Couturier. He lost the defensive core. Now, on the McCarr goal last night, I'm going to give these boys a little bit of a pass on that one because that was as little of a move as that was. That was a nasty move by McCarr.
Yeah.
He made it seem like he was going to pass it back, and then he hit the Jets. And
you can get mad at Provy though for getting beat 1-on-1 in that Devils game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Devils game.
But you still can't let that happen. I mean, I get that he's a skilled player, but coming off of that, you're coming off your coach was just fired. You can't let that happen. I think they even said it on the broadcast that you can't let that happen. Coast to coast.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
No,
the Arizona Coyotes let that happen. Not the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, I got you.
Gossip Spears looking like fucking Bobby Orr over there too, making moves.
Now, here's my personal take on the situation with the hitting of the reset button. I feel like as much as some would say the Flyers have to at this point, and then others would say that they shouldn't, technically they really can't. And the reason why they can is because there's a lot of contracts you can't move on this team. You know, for one, you can't trade Sean Couturier. I mean, if we're talking blow up, we're going all the way with this because that's what these usually entail, blowing it completely up down to the fucking core. You can't trade him away. You just gave him a big deal. You can't get rid of Kevin Hayes' contract. The only way you can do that is if you buy him out. And then on top of that as well, you can't get rid of Ellis. He's got 5 years left on his contract. I believe Atkinson has 3 years left on his.
Well, I'm not familiar with the no movement clauses within those contracts, Matty, but if you could, if the Flyers continue to fall out, right, you trade them at the trade deadline to, you know, prospective guys that would easily take a Kevin Hayes for their third line, right? And you build around that young core. You could turn this around. Let's not forget, just north, the New York Rangers did it in 4 years, and look at it now.
And that's something that I was going to acknowledge is that the Rangers, they realized the situation they were in, and I want to bring this up because I'm going to go on a long spiel, but I'll do it in a minute. First thing I'm going to do though is I want to give love to the fans. I want to give love to the fam because once I get going, it takes a while before I stop. So let me get that taken care of now before it's too late. And while we're at it, first period sponsor. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, eXp Realty, Alan Foy, contact him at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. And on top of that, the first comment brought to you by Gleason's Bar, located at 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. Use the promo code A2D for 10% off of your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. Definitely check that out if you're in the Levittown area. All right. So we had Jesse Davis chiming in. What's up, big dogs? What's up, Jesse? He said, pour one out for AV. Benny saying, what's up, boys? What's up, Benny? Jesse's saying, Danny Briere for head coach.
Let's see what Mike Yao does first.
I don't hate it. Well, what confidence level that we have in that, because that's a big thing I know Maddie want to talk about. We can get into it more in depth later, right? But before I forget, Chuck Fletcher came out and said, yes, he's our interim coach for tonight.
Yeah, I think – I don't know if Fletcher's really 100% going to keep Yao there. Not to say that Yao – to be fair, though, Fletcher did allow Hackstall to have a chance to try and remain on the team. So maybe he will do this with Yao. He won't pull the trigger immediately to go find a replacement for Yao and take the interim off of him. But it'll be interesting to see what his decision is. You know, is Fletcher looking at the situation like a tumor where he's got to cut it all out? Or is he looking at the situation of, okay, it really was only 2/3 of the coaching side. Yao's side was actually doing better, which it was. I mean, the Flyers penalty kill may not have shown its ability yesterday, but for the most part, played rather well. I mean, and to say that the defense completely fell apart all the time is wrong. they fell apart during this last stretch. But there were times when the defense looked a lot better and played a lot better in front of Carter Hart and stopped a lot of secondary chances. And if Carter didn't always have the best rebound control, the defense made up for it by getting it clear. So there were times that the defense was playing well. May not have been on this recent stretch, but there was a time when they were playing a lot better. There was also a time period when the offense was producing too. So seems like it was so long ago, though. It really does.
I mean, my takeaway from the press conference was that it's Mike Yow's job to lose. He's not going to rush finding a head coach. He doesn't. I mean, let's be real right now. Who's out there? It's name thrown out there.
Rick
Maybe.
fucking Tockett's out there. Go get him. Go get him.
I will say this.
Yeah, people can say that the Flyers should be done with hiring the former players. But what was one name that you said, Brian, that brought a team out of the basement and won a Stanley Cup? That was a former Philadelphia Flyer player. I believe it was Craig Berube.
Yeah, but it was for St. Louis. I agree.
And I agree. Here.
Tocchet could be an answer here. He's one of those guys that he calls the same similar system to Yao. You know, it's a technical system where you have to maintain control. You have to not be sloppy. You have to have the clean transition. But as far as let's be real. Let's stop throwing the bullshit names out there. Mark Recchi is already coaching with the Devils.
Yeah.
So he's out. Danny Briere? No.
I don't think Danny's never coached. Not at any level.
It's not even that he's a coach, that he's never coached or anything like that. What makes you think he's going to be a good coach? Because he was a good player?
Yeah, I know. Wayne Gretzky pretty much shows the example. Yeah.
That's a prime example right there. Wayne Gretzky, greatest player of all time, one of the worst coaches ever. Skilled players don't make good coaches. Players who play on the third and fourth line to understand the game a little bit more than the skill players tend to make the better coaches. Could Tocchet be an answer? Maybe. He doesn't look great in Arizona as a head coach, but then again, it's Arizona. So he could potentially be an answer. After that, who else? Bruce Boudreau just went to Vancouver.
Which is why I think Vancouver went and got him anyway, because there's a little bit of a murmur going around. Vancouver grabbed him because they were afraid Philly would grab him first. Possibly.
I mean, they announced his hiring before they even announced the firing of
AV.
Travis Green.
Oh, Travis Green, you mean? Yeah, gotcha. And they fired Jim Benning too. So whole new era for Vancouver now.
But my point is, like with Mike Yao, I'm okay with the Flyers not rushing, bringing in another head coach. Let Mike Yao do it. Let him. He's got experience. He's had success as a head coach in this league.
Yes.
Was it consistent? No. But then again, his teams weren't all that great either. But he's had success in this league as a head coach.
You mean Minnesota was
one game?
Yeah, and Minnesota
did play better for the most part.
Yeah,
defense is they're relearning a whole new system.
Yeah, and I mean,
good for one game. Defense needs to be better, but they looked better. They had better scoring chances. I thought they played a little bit more in the Avalanche zone, especially in the first half of the game. They didn't really maintain puck control, and one thing that they did do is the one thing that Rob was talking about before. They showed resiliency in that game. They had a little bit more fight, a little bit more pop in that game. They played with a little bit more heart. Which goes to tell me, which is why I disagree with the poll, why they're shouldn't rebuild. That's why they shouldn't rebuild.
To me, though, I think that was more of them taking advantage of some Colorado Avalanche's shortcomings, though. They're not. To me, they didn't. Besides Makar, I get it. They're not as good defensively as they have been in years past.
No, I agree.
The boys were playing harder, and I get that. You got to respond after your coach is fired, And they were down 4-1, and that's when you could have easily packed it in, and they did not, right? So anyway, go on with your point. I got it.
No, I'm just saying it's been one game, and it's already been a noticeable difference as far as effort goes. I mean, they need to still need to clean up some areas of the game, but they're not they're not playing nearly as bad last night as they did in the 8 games before. Which
And
goes
when
to
you-
show me that maybe AV was more of a problem than we initially thought.
And we do, and when you look at the history of it, you know, I mean, the Flyers have responded usually when a coach is fired. In the past, we've seen it where coach gets fired, and then all of a sudden the team's like, "Oh, we fucked up again. Our coach got fired." Sad to say that again has to be thrown in there because they did fuck up a lot and got a lot of guys fired. But on top of it, though,
He just
Yao,
has to do a lot of the little things right, and that's what Mike Yao encourages. That's his thing is making sure the little things are done right. Like I said, clearing pucks, making sure you're maintaining possession, no turnovers, clearing your zone. It's literally like the little intricacies of the game that he really is preaching. So that's something that AV didn't really maintain either. Was the game just got too sloppy, especially over the last 3 weeks of the season.
Now, when you look at the situation too, also, like you said, Brian Yao does have some success. Minnesota was a floundering team. He did go there, and they actually won a division title with him there. St. Louis, they had a pretty good run with him as well. Did they win the cup with him? No. But at the same time, though, they were a competitive team. The only thing that stopped them was the Blackhawks during that time period.
Oh, my God.
What the hell just happened?
Yes, my son?
This fucking goal that the Anaheim Ducks just scored.
Yeah, I made that happen for you.
Trevor Zegras set up the Michigan, passed it up over the net. Sonny Milano batted it in for the goal.
Ooh,
Nice.
I love those goals. I love those because it combines like baseball and hockey, my two loves.
Trevor Zegras is directly behind the net. And they're going to review it now, but holy shit.
So let me see here. We got Chuck saying, "Yo, gentlemen." Hey,
What's up,
Chucks.
Chuck?
Eileen saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all doing?" We're doing fine, Eileen. Well, sort of.
I mean, I'm good. I'm worn down.
Yeah. Rob Brinkman saying, "The young players let AV down." He also said, "This team just isn't good." And then Chucks goes on to say, "Disagree to the poll. I don't think the Flyers are devoid of legit talent. They are definitely a few players that you can build with."
Yo,
Meanwhile,
this goal is stupid.
Yeah.
They just keep showing a replay of it. This is insanity.
I'd love to hear Bucci's call on it too. John Buccigross. It's so great that's the one great thing about hockey being on ESPN that you get his calls again.
They went nuts, actually. And they reviewed it. They called it a good goal. Yo,
Nice.
Trevor Zegras' reaction to this is awesome. Yo, goal of the year.
Stay tuned to your NHL apps for that celebration later. Get that
Stay
notification.
tuned. Yeah, seriously. NHL Network on the fly. You want to see
Yes.
that highlight. You want to see that goal. That's a goal of the year candidate right there.
Nice.
Wow. Go ahead, Matty. I'm sorry, buddy.
no problem. Eileen saying from the Manscaped, no man junk. Trim it down, please. Us ladies do it for y'all. And then
Gentlemen,
Jake,
if you don't, it just makes it look bigger.
yeah, that's true. And Jake saying, "What up, boys? I disagree with the poll. I might trade some, but I'm not going to blow it up with all the young talent we have." And we got Tom chiming in. What's up, Tom? Saying, "Let's talk about it." And then he said, "This is a mess." Yeah. Young Das, who is an A2D member, by the way. And if you want to become an A2D member, $9.99 a month. You get all kinds of perks. You get shout outs, you get members only streams, and you can get appearances on the show. We've had Prism on here a couple of times because he's a member. And so you guys can get that. Plus, you also get opportunity for basically getting some money. You could use the Money Pot podcast and Willie Vegas, get that money, and before you know it, you're getting paid to be a member of A2D. So become a member.
Definitely become a member. A lot of perks with it.
Absolutely. And he goes on to say, I'm ready for consistent winning Flyers hockey. I think we all are, brother. I think we all are. And Eileen then goes on to say, love my Fly boys, even though they are unfortunately stinky. And then she goes on to say, the Hurricanes are crazy good. Yes, they are. They are very crazy good. I did hear someone say in the comments, maybe we should try and convince Rod Brindamore, not in the comments, but I saw it on like Twitter. Should we try to convince Rod Brindamore to come back to Philadelphia to coach the Flyers?
I'm not going anywhere with that team.
Yeah,
he wants to be in Carolina. That's
why would he trade down? Like that's the thing. Why the fuck would he trade down at this point
for the challenge?
I mean, he hasn't won a cup yet, so I don't think he would feel that sense of wanting to go for the challenge because I don't think he's accomplished the challenge just yet for Carolina. Maybe he will. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Rob?
I was just thinking out loud a little bit that you got to try now. If your object is to rebuild, you lost number 13 in the Risto deal. You know what I mean? So you got to try to get back into the first round. That could be tricky business too. Now you could still build upon that trade. Like I said, it's not like, you're selling the whole farm like the Miami Marlins 2 times over, but that's going to be a challenge. If they go that route, that will be a challenge.
I mean, this whole situation is a challenge because it literally is, and I know we were talking about it a little bit in one of the groups, is where do they go from here? What's the next step?
Right.
The next step is winning a game.
Yeah.
It looked like they scored some goals yesterday, and they're looking like they're getting a little bit of a spark back. G had 2 huge goals in the first period, and it's taking it shift by shift for right now until you get comfortable with Mike's system. And then from there, it's got to be gung-ho. This is the toughest division in hockey.
Oh, it is.
Say what you want. The Metro is the toughest division in hockey. And if they get themselves too deep into a hole, doesn't matter how good they play, they may not come out of it. Capitals are playing like the Capitals of old. Pittsburgh still is Pittsburgh. Rangers are playing phenomenal hockey under Gerard Gallant. Islanders kind of
they're down on themselves.
They're very much underachieving right now.
Yeah, they're very much down on themselves. They got to find their confidence too.
Carolina's Carolina. It's a tough situation for the Flyers being right now. And that's why I think you need to hold on to some of these vets.
And that's not including the fact that Columbus has come right the fuck out of nowhere and decided to be a fly in the ointment.
Columbus too. You can't. I'm not sitting here saying sell everybody, because there's a lot of guys on the list that Robbie gave off earlier that I agree with. I think Therrien is going to be a little bit easier to move. I think Konechny is going to be easy to move. JVR could be. Depends on his situation. Hayes, I don't know if he's even going to agree to move after bringing his boys over here. But you got to have a nice little mixture of vets and young guns, because you need the vets to help the younger guys develop. Ellis needs to get healthy. That's the big one.
I'm okay with that.
Ellis needs to get healthy. That should be the number one priority right now. He needs to get healthy.
Yeah.
See where you are come the trade deadline. If you don't think you're in position to get a playoff position, start selling some pieces off. But don't throw them all at once. I think that's going to lead to a bigger issue, and that's going to make whatever the Flyers are going through right now, it's going to make it last that much longer. And ideally, you don't want that to happen, because the right mixture of vets and young guns will be. It could be something magical. Look at the run Anaheim's on. Look at the run Anaheim is on. They're overachieving. But they're playing great hockey because they have the right mixture of talent and vets and leadership and guys that can help these younger guys take the next step. Flyers have some of that already. I just think they need the right coach. Could Mike Yao be that guy? Could be. Could Rick Tocchet be that guy? Could be. But there are some players that need to go, absolutely, because they do need a culture change. And I think they're taking a step in the right direction with what they did yesterday.
I get bigger. You know what I mean? That's why, like, to tie in the 2 points, like, I'm still okay with Risto on this team moving forward. You know, start getting bigger. You know, stop getting pushed around and start doing the pushing. You know, if you're going to dump and chase a forecheck, I believe I read a comment earlier from Jesse. They're not successful at it because they don't have this. I mean, they got the speed up finally that we were asking for, but they just don't win puck battles. It just does not happen. I'd say easily 7 out of 10 times they're beat on the puck, and it's got to be at least 50-50.
Oh, for sure.
Jesse's
for sure.
saying
They
right
get a little
here.
bit bigger. Even with some of the grittier guys that they brought in, Connor Brown, Zach McEwen, you brought back Nasty Nate. These guys can help, especially in the bottom 6, create some energy, get the physicality going, finish checks. That's one of the things that we talked about 2 weeks ago, boys, is something that Scott Hartnell said. These guys don't play with speed. They don't play with physicality. They don't finish their checks. They don't do the little things right. That could have been an AV problem.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, I'm sounding like a broken record. That's what Mike Yow's looking for. He's looking for those little things. If he can get this, like I said, the first half of the Colorado game, I thought they played like a much better team. They played with a little bit of spark. They played with some energy. They played a resilient game. They may have gone down a couple times. You saw them crawl right back in until the third period. A couple things happened, but it is what it is. I don't blame anybody but the Flyers for that one. You were down 5-4 at one point, and then you lost 7-5. You were down 7-4. However, like I said, there was a little bit more jump. Let them get a little more comfortable with the system. I think this team is going to be okay.
We got Dan saying, "What's up, guys? Agree to the poll. That being said, no one wants any of our slow lack of talent players."
What's up, Dan?
And Moira, hey Moira, saying, "Hey boys, what's good? Worried about our fly guys. Do we think G is on the move? Lots of people venting he should have never had the C status. Thoughts?" Well, first off, Moira, I will respond to that. He should have had the C status. And anyone who still thinks that this guy wasn't worthy of the captaincy and can go piss up a fucking rope, because he's one of the greatest players the Flyers have ever had. And you want to argue that? Guess what? The stats will tell you otherwise. This is one of the best players the Flyers ever drafted, and one of the few that lived up to his full potential. I don't want to hear any more bullshit about Claude Giroux.
But Matty, he never shows up in the playoffs.
Sure. What about all the other fucking players? They never show up either, but G never gets half the never half the shit getting thrown out at like G.
But he's on a milk carton come playoff time. He shouldn't be a captain.
Yeah, okay, sure. And what's the excuse? Does that give everybody else a fucking pass? Does that give the whole team a fucking pass? That doesn't.
Let's be real. For a 10-year span, he was number 3 in production.
Yeah.
He was up there with Ovechkin, Kaner, and Crosby. He's going to be one of the all-time – he's probably going to end up top 3 all-time point leaders in franchise history.
He's there already.
And he is the longest tenured captain. I got in an argument with a guy yesterday in a group saying he should have been stripped of his captaincy. Are you fucking stupid?
Why? What did he do that was
because
captain?
He doesn't deserve it.
Of course.
Bro,
what
does
it?
Okay. Hold on.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm like, listen. I'm like, first of all, that doesn't happen. Joe Thornton is probably the exception. Jack Eichel lost his C because of conduct detrimental to the team. It's the only way you will ever see a player get the C stripped off a player.
And also on top of it, too,
he's the longest tenured captain. He is going down in history as probably the number 2 greatest Flyer of all time. You're going to strip him of the C because you don't think he's good enough? He has no leadership ability? Don't you think they would have moved him by now if he didn't have any of that?
Yeah. They would have tried to cash in on him a long time ago if that was the case. But also on top of that,
this does not ever come off. It's very rare that this ever comes off of somebody's jersey.
Very rare. And on top of that, too, think about this as well. Giroux only had one sin he ever committed on this team. He happened to be a captain during a period where the Flyers put nothing but slop around him. for years. How's that Giroux's fault? That the organization couldn't get its shit together. That isn't his fault. He had to inherit a team that was not structured well because a lot of the players that he came up with were gone by the time he was captain because a lot of moves got made to try and fix the goaltending position that didn't work out. And then they tried to facelift the team, and a few of those players didn't work out too. Looking at Braden Shen, who did not live up to any of the potential he had. Then he found it in St. Louis. The point is that there were a lot of moves made that changed this team drastically when Giroux took on the C. And also, to be fair, Pronger did get hurt, and that definitely allowed him to become captain, because who knows what would have happened if Pronger never gets that career-ending injury. Who knows what happens there. But the point is that Giroux inherited a team that was pretty much in chaos, whether we realized it or not. Look back at that time period. How much did the Flyers plug in players and put players that really Giroux couldn't work with because they weren't as talented as he was? Voracek might have been. Okay, I'll give you that one on Voracek. But Michael Raffl was on the top line. I love Raffl. He worked his ass off. He wasn't a top liner. Why the fuck was he on top line? Yes, he had his occasional moments where he showed some flashes of brilliance. That's not his fault. That's not Giroux's fault that you throw him out there. Probably saying, I remember when Coach Ted O'Ryan removed the C from Charlie Conway. Oh, Ted O'Ryan.
Real quick. Benny, I see your comment that Big E was stripped. He was stripped for the same reason that Jack Eichel was stripped. Conduct detrimental to the team. He ripped team officials for for how they handled his situation. He ripped the organization.
He did.
That was the start of the end for Eric Lindros. That's why he was stripped. It wasn't stripped because of lack of production, lack of leadership, or anything like that. He was stripped for ripping team officials.
Because him and Bobby Clark were doing this the entire fucking year, and it finally came to a head.
What's up, Johnny?
Hey.
I see you in the comments. Appreciate you, brother.
Unless my captain's out, like getting drunk, racing Lamborghinis and crashing into people, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be like that. That's when you strip someone of the C. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you don't put the team first, you lose the C, just like Jack Eichel did. Giroux has a great repertoire with officials on the ice, off the ice. Team officials. He's got a great relationship with a lot of people throughout the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
It's what makes him a great leader and a great teammate.
Think about it this way.
Everybody wants to rip him for not having any heart. Did you not see him with Travis Konechny trying to take out who the hell was it? Victor Hedman.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Giroux freaking, he gripped up Crosby during the 2012 fucking playoff series. I mean, yeah, that was a heated series, but he gripped up Crosby because he was getting sick of Crosby trying to fucking, do some disrespectful shit. It's like, yes, Giroux does have fire. He does have passion. He does have heart. Does he always pull it out? No, but that's because a captain doesn't want to get taken off the ice. It's a very important thing to be remembered. People wonder, yes, and I will say this. I still hate Sidney Crosby, and I still think he's a pussy little bitch. But at the end of the day, Crosby's tactics make sense. He tries to do these little stupid little things to, nip at you, but he's never going to get himself into enough trouble to get thrown off the ice. Giroux was trying to do the same thing. He's not trying to get thrown off the ice because he knows he's got to stay out there because he's the fucking captain. Captains who are smart enough aren't going to get thrown off the ice every 5 fucking minutes. That's not what you want. That's not the reason why you wear the C. You need to be out there, and you getting a game misconduct every fucking night is going to get your ass thrown away, and then you're going to get stripped of the C because, what's the fucking point of you wearing the C? Because you're not even on the ice half the time. So, yes, I get it, but that's why Giroux doesn't do that all the time because he doesn't want to get thrown off the ice. He has to stay out there. He's the leader of the fucking team.
No, Benny, I get what you're saying, brother. I'm not saying, I'm just saying it more to kind of prove my point a little bit more. Was that, when you get yourself in that situation and you start pointing your finger at team officials or whatever, what have you, you start throwing a little bitch fit, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. It doesn't happen that often that a player is stripped of his captaincy.
No, absolutely.
It doesn't happen often.
It's rare. It's rare. That's why the Eric Lindros situation stands out so much. Also, it was such a big blow up, and it could not be ignored. John saying, I'll be in Vegas Friday for the game. I'm really looking forward to the overpriced cold beer more than what I expect to see on the ice.
You can't even guarantee it's going to be cold there, Johnny. You can't. You can't guarantee that.
Frank saying,
dude, have a safe flight.
Yeah.
Have fun out there. Enjoy the flight too, my friend.
Enjoy, man. All right, guys. So I'm going to get into it now. Time to do this. So this one's going to get a little long-winded, so be ready.
Short and sweet, Maddie. Short and sweet.
And it might get loud. So
short and sweet, Maddie. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. This ain't a short and sweet topic. This is something that is a lot deeper than short and sweet. You got to break it down here. That's what we're here to do.
You got to hit it first.
So here we go.
Wait. Where's the Matt rant? Where's the alarm?
All right, go ahead. Throw it out. Throw it up.
Hit it, Maddie.
All right, so are the Flyers to blame for AV getting fired? Is AV to blame for getting fired, along with Michel Therrien? I think it's a bit of both. I think the players gave up on him, and I think just as much he couldn't really get them motivated. But I saw an article headline, and it is very true. AV was not the only problem. This goes a lot deeper than just AV. And to be fair, we've talked about this so many times on the series. So many times on this show, we have debated this and discussed this. And, Brian, you have accused the Flyers on multiple occasions that they're stuck in 2010. Now, I will disagree in this regard. I think we got to go back further than that. I think we got to go back way past 2010. We got to go back to the dewy slopes of the year that they got Eric Lindros. And the reason why I got to go back to that is because of this reason. They traded to get Eric Lindros while they were trying to draft players to slowly build the Flyers back up. Now, it was taking a lot longer than expected, as it normally does. You can't just draft 2 or 3 players and boom, you're off to the races. Maybe back then it was a smaller league and talent was a little bit more readily available back then, and there was no salary cap. So you get away with a few more things than you used to back in the day. However, when they went and got Eric Lindros, they had a choice to make. They can either still draft and try to build a young team around a younger player that was immediate impact, because he was, or you can make trades and make this team a playoff competitor right then and there because of how much of a big impact Eric Lindros was. They chose to do the latter, and they said, let's go get John LeClair. Well, LeClair was a throw-in. He turned out to be great. Eric Desjardins was the guy they wanted to get, and they went and got him. They signed guys like Paul Coffey. They went and got other players as well from trades and from deals. They did that to build up a team quickly in the 90s. Now, to be fair, they had the ability to do this because they had Eric Lindros. He was that important, and people sometimes downplay Lindros because of his injuries and because he never won a cup and because his career was cut short. Make no mistake about it. When Lindros came to the league, he changed the game. He changed everything about the game because he was that big of an impact player. That's why the Flyers went the route they went instead of, okay, we're not going to draft a team around this kid. We're going to build this team up through trades and through free agency signings. And that's what they did. And it worked immediately. The Flyers, after they made those deals, they were in the playoffs again. They were a competitive team. Every year it seemed like they were a cup contender. 97, sure, they wound up getting to the finals and they choked. But there was still that hope that they could get back to the finals. It wasn't over because Lindros was still here. Yes, the Legion of Doom was over because Renberg got traded, but the team was still strong. Unfortunately, over time, things happen. 1999-2000, that season, that's the year that Lindros had that injury, and that's what led to the big blow-up between him and Bobby Clark. And eventually, come the offseason, he was no longer a Flyer. He got traded to the New York Rangers. And when that happened, there was a fork in the road. There was a choice to be made here. Clarkie could have gone the route of, okay, the Lindros era is over. Maybe we need to start stocking up on some young players. Maybe we need to start winding this down a little bit, start changing the Flyers a little bit. Or we can use the money we're not paying Lindros to keep the party going. And let's see if we can make a run and make it happen without him. Clarkie chose the latter. And he continued to bring in players to try and boost up the team. He gave Keith Primo the captaincy, not a bad choice. He also then brought in other players like a Jeremy Roenick and what have you, players that were not necessarily young. They were past their prime, but still had some gas left in the tank and still can contribute something to a team. So he did that. And the Flyers were competitive during that time period. Were they perfect, though? No, because they could never find a goalie to take care of the situation. And on top of that as well, there were a lot of younger teams at that time that kind of outdid the Flyers a few times. Looking at Tampa in 04. Young team with a lot of hopes. And boy, oh boy, did they achieve all their hopes and dreams that year. Even destroying another young, hopeful team in Calgary in the finals to do it. But after all that was said and done, we then had the lockout. And this is where things change drastically because of a little thing called the salary cap. People forget how much that changed the league and how much that hurt the Flyers because the Flyers couldn't do what they were doing. They couldn't have this massive payroll like they had previously. They had to get under the cap and they had to break off contracts. And also players started retiring. Players started getting hurt more and more. Primo had to retire because of all the concussions he had been taking. Desjardins eventually retired. On top of that as well, John LeClaire left and went to Pittsburgh. So you have all this going on. You have a lot of your essential players are gone. And a lot of young players that you did draft, you traded them away to get other players, like a Patrick Sharp, like a Justin Williams, like a Dennis Seidenberg. They were all in Philadelphia and all drafted by the Flyers, and they were gone by this time. Only Simon Gagne was the only one they kept, and I understand why, because Gagne was one hell of a player. But you should have kept at least a few of them, don't you think? Because look at the players they turned out to become. Holy shit. I mean, Justin Williams was Mr. Game 7, but Patrick Sharp was, wow, unbelievable in his time. On top of that, we had that moment. We all know what moment I'm talking about. The 06-07 season. Everyone remembers what happened that year. It was a disaster. There was another fork in the road at that moment in time. The choice could have been made of, okay, we kept doing this in the early 2000s. We kept wheeling and dealing. We tried to bring Peter Forsberg back and make it work. He had his ankle issues, and that killed his career. We tried with Rathje. Great for the Sharks, terrible for the Flyers. Hatcher turned out to be a good player, but you know what? That's one guy. Ultimately, the Flyers needed to get younger. They needed to fix this team. They had a choice to make. You can either patch up the team, go get some free agents, and get some players that you had in the Phantoms that were ready to come up and say, there we go, this is what our team is now, and just go for it again. Paul Holmgren took over, and that is exactly what he did. He chose not to say, okay, we're going to restructure this team. We're going to build a new core. We're going to start drafting younger players and start building ourselves back up again. He decided to go and grab Danny Briere off of free agency. Don't hate it. Great player. Still love him to this day for what he did. He went and got guys like Vinny Prospel, Joffrey Lupul. He made sure Mike Knuble stayed around. There were things that he did there. He went and traded and got Kimmo Timonen and Braden Coburn and Scott Hartman. So he went and made trades to build the team up. Then he did take a couple players out of the Phantoms. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, who were two players that were absolutely ready to come up at the time. Mike Richards would eventually get the captaincy because of it. Then he would bring up Giroux and Van Riemsdyk over time. But ultimately, he was still plugging and playing. Yeah, you had 4 players that were pretty important on the Phantoms, but what else did you have? Nothing else. Those were the 4 notable players you had. Oh, and just for fun, Cote did get brought up by Paul Holmgren too, because you need a guy to beat the shit out of people. But so, taking all that into account, Holmgren continued to plug and play this team and continue to make a run. And what happened? Well, a magic run happened in 2010. But then we had a new problem. He took the wrong lessons from it. He said, we don't need a starting goalie. That was a mistake because 2011, it bit us in the ass when we got swept by the Bruins. Because the Bruins didn't forget 2010, and they damn sure don't forgive. They made us pay for it. We also needed to restructure the team a little bit because the defense started showing a little bit of weakness and a little bit of leakiness. And no one brought that up. No one addressed that. Sure, he sheeted Shea Weber, but Nashville then matched it. Well, what was your backup plan? He had no backup plan. He simply was just going to sign a big free agent and fix the issue. That was what he was going to do. Throw money at the situation and solve the problem. Not draft players just in case shit went wrong. No, let's go get Shea Weber and let's hope Nashville doesn't offer sheet him or match it. And they did. Plan B? What's a fucking plan B? Who needs a fucking plan B? That's going to work. It's got to work. We're the Flyers. Everyone wants to play here. Fuck Nashville. Who gives a shit about Nashville? Nashville matched it. You had no plan B. Brizgalov comes in. It's like, oh, Briz is great. Forgetting the fact that he had a good defense in Arizona. Made him look great. Then when he came to Philadelphia, it all went to hell in a handbasket, didn't it, rather quickly? And now the cracks are forming. The red flag was shown in the 06-07 season. Holmgren should have saw what happened there and said, you know what, maybe we need to build up a foundation a little bit stronger than we have right now. But he didn't do that. He decided to continue what Bobby was doing, but kept it under the cap. That was the only difference. Sure, he may have traded for younger players, but you're still doing the same thing Bobby was doing. It's just a little different. You're not throwing a shit ton of money at free agents all the time, but you're still wheeling and dealing to try and solve the problem. That's what you're still doing. You can't deny that it's the same thing, just a different form of it.
Right.
And finally, it caught up to the Flyers. It finally caught us and bit us in the ass because then the pattern started happening. The pattern of make it, miss it, make it, miss it, make it, miss it. During that time, Holmgren was relieved of GM and got demoted and promoted. He became president of hockey operations, essentially running the team. And he brought in Ron Hextall. And this is where it all comes full circle. Hexy saw where the trajectory was going. Hexy saw where this team was. And he knew this team was never going to win a cup. Not with the way it was. He understood that because he watched how a team was formed in LA. Yes, they too made some deals, but they did have a lot of homegrown talent on that roster. Anze Kopitar is a perfect example of that. Drew Doughty's another one you could throw out there. Dustin Brown when he was good. There were plenty of players. And, of course, Johnny Quick, the linchpin. All homegrown talents and all the major reasons as to why. Tyler Toffoli, that piece of shit Slava Voinov, all of them were a part of that team.
Alec Martinez.
Yes, Alec Martinez.
Vegas, yeah.
Yep. All of them homegrown talents drafted by the Kings. He was trying to do the same thing in Philadelphia, and he did start doing that. But then guess what happened? Paul Holmgren got impatient because Hexy didn't look at the team as we're not looking to try and make the playoffs every single season right now. We're trying to build this team's structure back up and get the foundations more solidified. So that way, when we get back into the playoffs more consistently, we're cup contenders by then. And that's when you bring in more veterans. That's when you go and throw some money around. Because then you can put it in with the young players like you were talking about, Bri, to get the veterans to teach the young pups how to play the game properly. And then that way, we're better. And we have a much more structurally sound foundation because we have plenty of young pieces sitting down there in the Phantoms we can keep bringing up. Because maybe not everyone's going to pan out. It happens. Look at TK. It may very well he has not panned out. This shit happens. But you know what? Paul Holmgren didn't care. And he fired him. Fucked this team so royally in the ass because he did it. Because Hexy never had a chance to continue doing his job and finishing his vision. Hexy, his plan wasn't going to be done anytime soon. He still had 3-4 years left of what he was trying to do. And of course, because this organization is run by fucking assholes, a fucking boys club filled with incompetent, arrogant, fucking futile bullshit philosophies that said, let's just put teams together and make a run because it worked for us so well in the past. Yeah, it worked so well for you, asshole. You got to 2 finals, and the only reason why you got to the 1 so dominantly is because you had a fucking impact player like Lindros. That's the only reason why. 2010 was a goddamn magic run. How the fuck do you not realize that? Michael Layton was a shit goalie, but he had that one great year. That one fucking good year, and it happened to be 2010. We lucked into that. It's a shame that our luck ran out in the finals. But that was how that happened. It didn't happen because you built the fucking team up from the ground up. You got fucking lucky. You got fucking lucky. Is that too hard to understand? And that's gambling at the highest level because you're gambling with the chance that maybe you might make a run in the playoffs. That maybe the team won't fall the fuck apart. That maybe the season will be good. How the fuck do you not realize how flawed that philosophy is? How do you not understand that Ron Hextall was trying to fix this team? That he was trying to fix the fucking foundations because they were so fucking shaky. They were as shaky as a fucking building that collapses and the skeevy landlord says, fuck it, keep the foundations the way they are because it's too goddamn expensive to fix it. Build that shit back up, throw more suckers in there, and then it collapses all over again and I get to pay off on an insurance scam. That's basically what he was running the fucking Flyers like. And when it collapsed, he threw his hands up and said, I'm absolved the blame, I'm not the GM. Fuck you, because you're the reason why the Flyers were in this way to begin with. Yeah, Bobby was doing the same thing, but he had no goddamn salary cap. He could play around with the roster all he wanted. He didn't have to give a shit. He didn't have to because Ed Snyder was willing to pay any price to make the Flyers great right then and there. You can't do that now. The fucking salary cap changed the goddamn game, and your refusal to understand that, fuck this team. And then on top of that, you bring in someone who's trying to fix it, trying to turn the team into a better team for this age of hockey. And what do? You get impatient because they might miss the playoffs, and you fire his ass. Fuck you, because you fucked this team by doing that. You fucked this team for years on end because of that. Then you bring in Chuck Fletcher, who I can't really say too many negative things about him, but let's be honest. Is he doing anything different than Paul Holmgren did or Bobby Clark did?
Oh,
This offseason this fucking offseason will tell you the total opposite. He's doing the exact same fucking thing that they did beforehand. He's taking players from around the league and he's putting them onto the Flyers team, hoping that it will build the team back up instead of just drafting. Yes, the team might suck for a period of time. Yes, the team may not make the playoffs consistently, but you're trying to fix your foundation. That's hard to do. Look at the Red Wings. They kept the party going for so long. It took them years to fix it. Hell, this is the first time they've actually looked pretty decent in a long fucking time. And that's this year. They started doing this, 7-8 years ago? Think about that. That's because they kept it fucking going for fucking ever. And they paid the price for it. As they wheeled and dealed and tried to keep their playoff streak going, and they paid the price. Just like the Flyers are paying the fucking price now.
He had to make those moves, though, Matty. You know that. They couldn't last another year with that defense in front of Hart.
No, and I understand that. I get that side of it. And I'm fine, and I understand that. I understand what he was doing there, But
who does Yandel remind you of that you mentioned before? This was my one worry with Yandel. It had Paul Coffey written all over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Ristolainen has turned out to be pretty solid. I can't really knock Ristolainen all that much. Yeah, I don't really necessarily think he's any real issue, but he's one player. It's like Hatcher all over again. It's like, that's one player. That's one guy. Think about all the other players that you went and brought in. Atkinson dried up like a motherfucker. Yeah, he had a goal last night. Where the fuck is he? He didn't step the fuck up when the team needed it. Ellis is hurt, so we got to wait and see what he's going to do for this team. Hayes has been hurt for like 2 years now, and he's trying to fix himself, and I have to admire him for at least trying, but probably should have gotten a surgery when he needed to. But again, that's a long contract we put him onto a no-movement clause, which hurts us in the salary cap for a long time coming. I mean, yeah, I get it. You got to overpay a little bit sometimes, but that's a lot of overpayment. That's basically telling him, it's like, hey, man, do you want to fleece us for a ton of money? Sure. Here's the pen. And it's just one of those things of there's not much changing going on here in Philadelphia. It's the same fucking thing. Whereas one GM was trying to fix this team's foundations, we bring in another GM after he's fired who says, no. The players that Hexie got, they're good enough. You quit halfway through the reboot. You quit halfway through the reboot. How the fuck does that make sense? No team quits halfway through their reboot, and now they expect to be fucking miracle workers and win a fucking cup? Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, we got a great goaltender in Carter Hart. Too bad the team in front of him stinks. Yeah, we got a great goalie. Wow, great fucking job, guys. You finally solved that one fucking problem the Flyers have always had. What about the problem right in fucking front of him? How about that? Did you want to address that at any point? Did you want to talk about the sloppy shit defense you had? Did you want to talk about the fact the offense is drying the fuck up? You want to mention that? One fucking time? No. Because we got incompetent fucking pricks and a boys club mentality at the top. Every fucking team has a boys club. 90% of them do. And it hurts their team half the time. And it hurts the Flyers. Because of the same bullshit philosophy we've had since Eric fucking Lindros. Don't build up a team. Don't rebuild. And if you're going to reboot, make it quick. Don't take too long or you're not going to stay. We're going to fire you.
Though. They don't have to, though. They got young guys in the pipeline that are getting ready to come up. That's why you brought in these guys.
What they are. We don't know what they are. What if they don't pan out? Do you have a plan B to go to? Do you have a plan B? We don't have a plan B. We don't have our structure properly set up. We don't. What is going to happen if, say, Cam York fails? What happens if he fails? Who do you go to then? Where do you go to? Provy hasn't been exactly perfect either.
Matt, you can, first of all, you can't think like that. Like Cam York is going to fail.
I'm not saying he will.
You don't know that.
But you have to be ready. You have to be ready for contingencies. And the Flyers never prepare for this. They never prepare for any of this shit. They don't try to build up even deeper than that. They try to do surface builds at best. They try to clear up some whatever small wounds. Just sew them up. And then when they get reopened and start gushing blood again, then they just say, okay, let's just build a little bit more surface stitches here and there. Let's not solve the problem even further.
What was the one thing that they didn't have last year? What was the one thing that they didn't have last year, Matty?
Defense, yes.
Defense, yes. They went out and they addressed it. They brought in 3 guys who wore letters on their sweaters at one point in their careers. 3 guys. But you went out, you wanted to get rid of Voracek. Voracek's contract, you moved that. You bring in Cam Atkinson. Yeah, he dried up a little bit. Every player is going to go through a dry spell. He got a power play. He got the first power play goal in how many games yesterday? How many?
What, Giroux?
No. Atkinson. Sorry. Against Tampa, not against Colorado. Not yesterday. What's today? Sunday night.
Oh, okay.
Against Tampa. He got the lone power play goal for the first time in how long? It's been a while. Can spark anything, Matt. And I get it. But they went out and they got leaders. Guys who may not always be the best example on the ice. But these are going to be guys that are going to be vocal in the locker room. Maybe the coach, maybe AV wasn't letting these guys be that dude.
Maybe. I can't say that that's not out of the realm of possibilities.
But there are young guys in this pipeline that are getting ready to come up that have been drafted already. There's talent in this pipeline. The Flyers absolutely still have a bright future because there's talent. Some of these other guys, yeah, move them. Get rid of them. Open up the spots. But like I was saying earlier, you have to have a good mixture of both. You can't expect to win anything or put yourself in some kind of
I can't read that, Rob.
Positive position. I can't read it either.
What's it say?
It was Zegras tries the Michigan. You knew it was coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You knew it was coming. It wasn't even he didn't even try it. He flipped the puck up and flipped it over the net. But the Flyers are in okay position. I don't think this is a terrible team. I don't think they're as bad as their record says or how their play is right now. I'm going to kind of fast forward you a little bit here, Matty. AV did not bring out the best in these guys this year. It started off well. He got the best out of them early. But it's November, or I'm sorry, it's not November, it's December now. Little reason to worry. But this team is set up pretty well. I thought Chuck Fletcher had a really good draft this past year. You have Tyson Forrester. You have Zayd Wisdom. You have Cam York. You have Usaminko. You have Sandstrom. You have a bunch of guys in the pipeline that if you need them to come up and fill up a spot, they could probably come up and fill a spot. Linus Sandin.
Now.
Could be another good one. But you're not going to know the answers to these questions until they get up at the big club and actually play. Morgan Frost could, for all we know, Morgan Frost is playing great in the AHL right now. Or he was before he came up. We don't know what he's going to be in the NHL yet. We don't know what Wade Allison is going to be yet. These players need to develop. These players need to develop because you're not going to get all your answers in the first year.
Frosty's made.
Do I agree they let go of Hextall a little early? Yeah, I agree with that. But to sit here and say that it's a boys' club and that they're doing the same thing that they were doing back in the 90s and early 2000s, I don't see that. I don't. Because Chuck Fletcher went out and addressed a major weakness that the Flyers had last year. They had a very young, very inexperienced defensive core that had no leadership. And they went out and got three guys. Three guys. You could have only gotten one, but they got three guys who with their previous organizations wore a letter on their sweater. And you don't always get that letter on your sweater for your on-ice production. It's that ability to be vocal on the bench, vocal in the locker room. Pulling guys aside during practice and say, hey, this is what we're working on here. You're not understanding it? Let's go work on it. That's why you bring in Kevin Hayes, because he does that. I've seen it in person. For a guy who got cut 2 days later, that's why you bring in those guys. I have no issues with what Chuck Fletcher has done so far. They have a decent team. They have leadership. They have guys who can take this team to the next level. They need the coach. They need the coach. AV clearly was not the answer. Now, go out and figure out who that answer is, because I think they got a team. They still have a bright future.
And I don't think John Tortorella is the coach, by the way. From what Jason says. No.
They don't like AV.
You have to put me on suicide watch if that happens. Come on now. Stop it. Stop with these comments.
You want to see – oh, go ahead, Rob.
No, go ahead. No, complete your thought.
I was going to say, if you want to see G walk, he will walk. He'll run. He'll run to a cup contender after that.
He'll lift his no movement clause for anybody.
Yeah, pretty much. You want to send me to Arizona? I'll go to Arizona. Fuck John Tortorella.
Send me to Buffalo.
There could be a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a bill. I like your positivity, Brian. Like I said, people would think that would have been my take, and it was not. Go back to the beginning of the show. I don't want to repeat that again. Right, but I could have had a heart attack. But they went through a tough stretch of their schedule, and it's easing up now. So if you can piece some wins together, maybe you can see if you can make it work based on the shakeup with the coaching change. But if you do not start getting positive results immediately, it's proving that, yes, Brian, these were educated, signings, trades, bringing in guys, but it's not working. The definition of lunacy is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You know what I mean? Maybe you could say the one argument that I could buy is, well, they haven't been healthy enough to see what that full, potential picture is. And I'll give you that, but it's getting late early, boys. You said it yourself, Brian. It's December.
It is. But you can't go from year to year with the same guys, because to me, that's insanity. That's a definite. If they went into this season with the same defensive core they had last year, that to me would have been a bigger issue than what they're facing right now.
Right. I'm fine with that. Like I said, we haven't seen what we've seen from Ellis has been great and exactly what the doctor ordered. It made Provorov better because now he doesn't have to be the number one. I don't think he's ever going to be the number one. He is a strong two. And you need to have that other one. I have no problem with that. I'm fine with the risk, though. It was, why did you bring a third defenseman, Yandel? I'd rather see Cam York get an NHL experience and power play, quarterbacking a power play on a third line. Okay, maybe he's not ready yet, and you want to maturate him like Hextall was trying to do. All right, I get that. You have other guys, as we've seen, like a Nick Seether, that could fill in, until he's ready or what have you. For a third line pairing, I'm fine with that. Right? Now, you spent more money on Yandel, and it's just hamstringing you.
Now, with that, I wanted to just finish up just to say this. There was a time when the Flyers did develop a team twice. The Bullies, that was mostly a drafted team. There were a few trades, Bill Flett and also Reggie Leach. Those were the guys who were traded for, but everybody else was drafted. Now, to be fair, there was a smaller league at the time. Drafting was a little different back then. So essentially, yes, it wasn't the same as it is now, but still important that you draft young players. That essential core of drafting has never changed. Drafting young players that you know are going to give your team an edge on another team, or drafting players that you know are going to be an important part of the future of your organization. Even if they don't necessarily give you an edge, they certainly are an important part of your team structure. And they built that structure very well in the 70s to the point where they were the first expansion team to win 2 cups. Then on top of that, they were very competitive for the rest of the 70s going into the 80s. And they continued to draft young, talented players. Think about it. They drafted Mel Bridgman. Yeah, he left for Vancouver, but he was a draft pick. He was one of the top draft picks the Flyers got. They went and got Brian Propp, Dave Poulin. Yeah, they traded for Mark Howe. He was a trade. But you also trade for Brad Marsh and players like that. Jesse. And, you had that, but you also drafted Rick Tocchet. You drafted Zezel. You also drafted Pelle Lindbergh. He tragically passed away, but you drafted Ron Hextall. You had a team. Oh, Tim Kerr was a draft pick too. The Flyers have not – there is a history of the Flyers drafting players and building a team up from the ground up. They've done it before. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that they can do it again. That's what I'm hoping that they can do. And, Brian, to say this, in my anger, I'm immediately ready to disagree. But you are right. There is talent in this organization. And to be fair, I want to see them do what they did back in the 80s. Build this team up. Get those young players ready to go. Develop them. Now, yes, are they going to maybe turn into another Brian Propp or Dave Poulin? That's a lot to put on a young player because they were game changers for the Flyers. You don't really know. But for them to turn into something and to be a viable part of this team moving forward, that's something I just want to see them pull off. It's something I yearn for, is to make the Flyers youthful again and to not necessarily have to go out every 5 minutes and say, we need to find an immediate answer to this problem. We need to find an immediate answer to that problem. We already have the answer in our system. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. And if we're building towards that, great. If we're not, God, I don't know what's coming next. But we're going to have to wait and see, won't we, gentlemen?
Trust me, buddy. I get it. I understand your frustration. It's validated. It is absolutely validated. But sometimes you just got to have faith in the system that it's going to work itself out. Did I really think that Anaheim was going to be this team this fast? No. No,
of course not. No one saw that coming.
I'm going to be honest. Well, yeah, seriously. But sometimes you have to realize, like, some of these younger guys that are coming up, they don't necessarily, like, unless you're getting a franchise-changing player, some of these guys take a little bit of time. They need a little time to mature. I mean, look at Troy Terry for Anaheim. He's already doubled his point production from last year. He already has. Sometimes it takes guys a little bit more time to get the game and to get it right, and instead, I guarantee you, it's part of the reason why some of these other guys aren't up yet. Why Cam York's not up yet? Some of these guys ride the waves. They ride the highs. They ride the lows instead of just taking it shift by shift.
True. And
just taking each game in and maybe take a little bit more time in the video room and see what you did wrong.
Yeah.
These guys, they're not, like I said, unless it's a Sidney Crosby or an Austin Matthews
or an Ovechkin or
a franchise-changing elite-level talent, you're not going to get great production out of some of these guys.
And the Flyers haven't had that since, well, actually, I guess I would say Giroux would be up there. I would have to say he has to be. He's right. I was going to say Lindros, but I would say Lindros was an immediate impact. Giroux was a sudden impact because he came in 2012, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, shit, Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, no, but my point is like you got to be a little bit patient with some of these guys, and I think some of these guys are being a little too patient. Some have been rushed. I think TK was rushed. And
I think so too. Now. Yeah.
I think he has the yips now. I think after that 1 year, it could be another situation where he got paid and that's what he wanted, and now he's making 4 point however much he's making, 5 whatever, and he got his contract, and now he's just playing it out. Now he's just going through the motion. At that point, you have to figure out what vets need to go. I don't necessarily think it's a prospect issue. I think this is a veteran issue. And I think some of these guys, you got to start moving some of these guys, whether it be a Couturier or, I mean, Drew, let's be real, he's probably going to stay if they're in playoff position. If they're not, he's probably going to go to a cup contender. Any of those guys in that situation right now, you know, got to send the message at this point.
And we've got Ryan's
offense going.
Yeah. And we got Ryan Swoop chiming in here. Flyers need to build a team that is full of players who are naturally gifted skaters, who are incredibly fast with effortless strides, and will allow them to play an all-around, a very aggressive up-tempo and pressure style of play, always attacking the opposing players when they're without the puck in every zone. Every player who comes onto this team, whether it's through the draft, free agency or trades, whether he's a sniper, a pass, first playmaker, a grinder, an enforcer, dangler, etc., he must be, and it continues, but still, no. And Swoop, you're right.
I cut off, buddy. I appreciate the comment, though, man. It's always good hearing from you.
And we got another long one here from Douglas Heller. It's like, been saying it for the last year. They need to trade all the players over 28 years old. How many coaches does this organization have to fire before the players, and I mean the vets, are held accountable? Bring up every top prospect that you have in the minors and plan to lose. And when I mean lose for years. The reason I say this, what does every Stanley Cup winner in the last 15 to 20 years have? Elite players on the front line and blue line. And this team has 0 elite players on. I'm assuming this team is the way that ends.
I kind of agree with that,
man.
though.
People are bringing out thoughts. I mean, these are geez, we need to take the front office right now.
I mean, like that's a great comment. Who was that from again?
Douglas Heller.
Douglas Heller. That was a well thought out comment, and I don't say that very often about some of the guys that commented on the show, because he's not exactly wrong. I mean, do I think they need to go that far? No, I think I'm a big fan of this roster, and I think they are completely underachieving, and I think a lot of that had to do with AV, and a lot of times when coaches lose the locker room, players play underachieving hockey to get the coach out. Could that be a situation? Yes. Am I speculating? Absolutely. Because I don't know for sure. I really don't. But I agree. There's talent on this roster. Elite level talent, game-changing talent, franchise-changing talent. No. There's some talent, though. There is definitely some talent. And I've been saying this for years. You guys know. Jesse, I'm sure, knows. Johnny knows. Ant knows. Like Benny knows. I've been saying this for a long time. They need a shoot first player. They need a guy who's naturally going to sit there, have the puck, and say, "Oh, look, I got a shooting lane." Boom. They don't have that.
They haven't had that since Jeff Carter.
Yeah.
Jeff Carter, Simone Gagne.
Which was it's just a shame that we traded Jeff Carter away when we did.
How many times, and I'm sure we probably saw this a lot yesterday and a lot in Tampa, did they go on a 2-on-1 and seeing the defender clearly playing the pass, yet they still pass it anyway.
Yeah. Ted saying you can't trade Coots unless you're blowing it up. We better be getting multiple first rounders for Coots, and that's a good point because Coots was drafted.
Have a no movement clause though. That's the one thing about trading Coots. You're going to free up some money. He has a no movement clause. You can get a good haul for Coots.
You probably can. The question is though, is the length of his contract, because he did sign a pretty long one. Is anyone willing to take it? That's the big question. Then you have to ask, because length and width of a contract is. It's a heavy thing to talk about now because of the salary cap. You got to really think about that long and hard about, is this good moving forward, or is this going to fuck us 4 or 5 years down the line from now? You have to think that way, unfortunately. It makes it harder for trades.
For sure. John, there's no guarantees in that.
I know. Not the NHL.
There's no guarantees anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody else said that the Seattle Kraken, one of the guys on Bar Down, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bar Down, a couple of the guys from TSN started their own little thing, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the Kraken need to just tank and go get Shane Wright." Bro,
Well, I don't think they need
there's
to.
no guarantee that they're going to get the number 1 pick.
Well, they don't need to tank. They're just losing in general. It's like, you don't need to tank.
Point,
You're already failing.
Right. The point being, there's no guarantees. You could be the last place team and wind up with the number 4 overall. It just has Detroit.
Yeah, that's true. Detroit did get pretty fucked.
What, 2 years ago? And they wound up with the number 4 overall pick. It does not matter.
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
true.
guarantee. You could be the last place team and wind up in the top 15.
That's true. We did get Coots for Carter though, because that 8th
That's
round.
why I think. That's why I picked on him during the show, but ultimately with that contract, you're committing that he's your next captain after Jake. You know what I mean? So, I'm with you, Teddy. But you got to explore all avenues when you're in this mode right now, because it's not just this season. Because you could say, well, look, first 6-7 games of the season, yeah, maybe a little lower competition same type of competition you're about to face. They were looking pretty good, scoring four goals or more a game, having a decent record, being up in the standings in a tough Metro division, and then they went through this bad streak. The problem is, and the issue is you're seeing a repeated pattern all last year and in the bubble, and now it's fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Now this is going to be third rendition. So, it's like, how many times can you keep on going back to the well? That was my original point earlier.
Yeah, I get it. But on the plus side here, and I'm sure you guys will correct me if I'm wrong here, the last time they lost 10 in a row, they still wound up making the playoffs that year.
They also won 10 in a row later in the season, too.
Yeah,
so it is possible.
It is possible. And that's kind of where my optimism comes from is, it's December. It is getting late.
I want to believe, man, but it's getting tough, man.
I get it.
I
think
it's also. I understand your frustration.
And you know what? I think also too. I think what it is that also the fact that we're in such a tough division, and that most people are saying if you get 94 points, that's the cutoff, and that's a hard fucking line to walk. Like 94 points. God damn! If teams are hitting that and going above it, and you can't even sniff it, it's like, fuck. If it's this bad this year, how hard is it going to be next year? And you start thinking about that because you think like, oh my God, this division just keeps getting worse for anybody who's trying to be competitive. I think that's also a little bit of where this is coming from of, fuck, how are we going to keep up with these teams now? There's no fucking way. But I will say this, though. At
74 more points, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's doable. We're fine. 74 points, that ain't shit. But anyway, like I was going to say, the thing too is, I think one thing I'm going to bring back is that I will say this. These other teams in the division, now, while they're playing really good hockey now, I'm going to say this now. They've not hit a divot yet, and they're going to at some point. Every team goes through it, like you were saying, Brian. Every team goes through a slump at some point in time. None of those teams ahead of us really have hit a massive slump yet, and it's probably going to happen. I would suspect it's going to hit one of those teams very soon because you can't keep up this pace forever. There's no way that they're going to be winning, getting like a 15 and whatever record and then keep going after that. At some point, it's all going to even out. It happens to every team. They're going to go through a period where the goals are going to dry up. Goalies may not be as sharp as they were 5 minutes ago, and they may start losing some winnable games. And then next thing you know, if things had turned around for the Flyers, and the same thing for the Islanders too, because they're in the same boat, they could slowly creep their way back up the standings. And then all of a sudden, while we're hot, they're cold, and then they can start coming down. And that's when you could sneak in and say, got cold at the wrong time. Happened to Dallas last year. We saw what happened. They went on that really bad cold streak, and Nashville got in. Nashville was not even that great a team, but yet they got in,
But the key here, Maddie, real quick, is playing a confident game, and that's something that the Flyers have not done in a month at least.
No confidence whatsoever. They lose it so quickly too. That's another big issue, Brian. That's a great thing to bring up. I can't believe it took me an hour and a half into the show to ask a key consequential question to you boys right now. But where the fuck is Priz? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Anybody check on him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, his work is
Priz
fucking brutal.
What's that?
Don Don's been gone for a few weeks. Where the hell's Don Don? I saw him chime in on one of the other shows, and he's disappeared since.
People are doing stuff, vacation, holiday. They'll be back.
Yeah, they will be back. I'm not.
I was giving praise to the Red Wings earlier. I mean, yeah, they went on that long tilt, but now they're actually looking pretty good this year. I mean, they're actually being a pain in the ass kind of team. That's like, things go right for them. Maybe they get a wild card spot. I mean, the Red Wings are playing decently this time around for the first time in a long time.
Well, the good thing is the regulars can take off shows and stuff like that. Every comment tonight, spot on energy tonight. For all platforms that we've been getting in.
Love it. Hit those likes, hit those subscribes. Let's go. But yeah, I mean, a key to playing a confident game at the NHL level, and I've noticed this from just watching some of these other teams, is mainly Anaheim, but aggressive forecheck. That's a big key that you're playing in a confident game. An aggressive forecheck. Something the Flyers haven't really done. And even Hartnell has said that, they're soft on that as well. They're just playing an overall soft game. A good forecheck, a strong aggressive forecheck is going to cause turnovers. You're going to be in the proper passing lanes. You're going to create havoc. And havoc tends to lead to prime scoring chances. Finding yourself in prime real estate to take some high-quality shots. Flyers have one of the lowest high-quality shot ratings in the NHL. Do you know who has the most? Last I saw was Toronto. They cause havoc on the offensive side of the puck. Why? Because of an aggressive forecheck.
And that's something and here's something. That's something they've had to develop because Toronto did not have that at first. I mean, that's one of the major reasons why they were consistently getting eliminated in the playoffs. Their forecheck would disappear. And we saw what happened in the bubble. They didn't put up a single goal against Columbus in that Game 5 and got themselves eliminated in the qualifier. And then we saw what happened last year when they pissed away a 3-1 series lead. That's something that they've had to develop,
Not even just that, because that was one of the reasons why, they've been falling apart. Defensively, they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
And that was a 180 turnaround from last year. They were one of the worst defensive teams in the league last year.
I heard, Teddy, that they burned. I heard that they burned to the ground, man. Fucking number one. And I don't know if they were celebrating the win as much as watching Jeff Goff's girlfriend celebrating the win, because I think they were celebrating both.
I saw that, man. I was like, God damn, man. If only we could all be so lucky for that. Woo!
I need to be a professional athlete.
God bless you, Goff, with your tiny hands.
Yeah.
Man. Anyway.
Makes our boobs look even bigger.
By the way, Brodo has something for us. Before you continue, Bri, we'll get right back to it. Brodo, I think it's time. Go ahead, throw it at us. What do you got? Well done, Brodo. Well done.
That's by far some of his best work.
We got him! Yeah! Let's go!
Well done, Brian.
Well
done.
That was definitely some of Brodo's best work.
That was.
I thought they got the original one too, where Bombay's sitting there like,
yeah. Oh my god,
that was awesome.
But anyway,
now I completely lost my train of thought. I was already.
Oh my god,
we got him.
Oh my god.
I mean, you're getting. I mean, like I said before, aggressive forecheck leads to offensive time zone. And when you spend a lot of, if you're controlling the puck and you're controlling the puck in the offensive zone, That's a good thing. It's a very good thing. That means you're spending a lot of time in their zone, which is running time off the clock. And if you already have a lead and you still have that aggressive forecheck, you're still creating opportunities. You're still creating havoc. One of the things that Toronto's has done better, especially on the defensive side, and I think it's something that we could, as Flyers fans and guys who are just fans of the game, can really appreciate, is not only just a back check that has severely improved for Toronto, their ability to push guys out of the slot, play a physical game. Breaking news.
And what is it hockey related or is it another
hockey
sport?
related? It's actually hockey related.
Okay, what is the breaking news?
Islanders end their 11-game skid.
Holy shit, they finally won a game. Who'd they beat?
Senators.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. If you're going to beat a team, if you're going to break your losing streak, break it to a team that is probably not going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah. But Toronto's defense is also given Jack Campbell opportunities to make saves and secondary saves, third saves if need be. And that's something the Flyers were really doing very well earlier in the year.
Yes.
And again, a lot of that comes from playing a very confident game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we know Toronto started off terrible.
Oh, yeah.
They started off real shaky. Like, fans were throwing jerseys on the ice, whatever. Everybody was giving up on them after 3 games.
That was so
now
funny.
look at where they are.
Yeah, true.
Flyers should still be there. They just have to get some confidence. And they
That's
have
true.
to continue playing the physical game, relying on the third and fourth liners to do their jobs, which is play physical, play with some energy, and hit guys.
If they
real quick, the one thing that did, I'm going to keep saying the one thing. There's a fucking list of things that this team has not done. There's a fucking list.
You just made the list.
Yeah. One thing. The fucking list. They don't make guys uncomfortable with the puck either. And that comes from playing a confident game and a physical game. You're finishing checks. You're pushing guys. You're hitting guys. They're not doing it. They're just not doing it. And guys are too
Instead,
comfortable
they're
with the puck.
absorbing
They have
their
plenty of
blow
time
and
with
trying to key off of it, and it's not working. I agree with you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When guys get comfortable with the puck in the offensive zone, bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we seen it? Doesn't matter who you're watching.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter who you're watching.
Yeah, and when, I mean, hell, look at what happens in the playoffs. That usually makes or breaks the team's run in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a part of the reason why Toronto's been first round out for the last, feels like forever.
Yeah.
And that's something that they're not doing now, is they're not letting guys be comfortable with the puck in their own zone. Aggressive back check. Hitting guys. Picking up rebounds. Not turning the puck over in their own zone is the biggest thing that they've improved on. It's legitimately the little things. And that's everything that the Flyers are doing wrong right now. And again, a lot of that comes from not playing confident hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
No, and I think there's a good point to be made there. I mean, Anthony's saying he heard Tocchet was in Philly today. So maybe, Robbie, there's some validity to that. But what I was going to say was, confidence is a key factor. Every team needs it. Every team, if you don't have confidence, you don't succeed in this league. You don't succeed in anything, really, if you don't have confidence. And, the one thing that I will say, by the way, Manscaped, 20% off A2D. But,
yeah. Great Christmas kiss for the men in your life.
Absolutely. Bang, bang.
Or yourself.
All right. It takes just one win for the Flyers, I think. Pete's saying agree to the poll. What's up, Pete?
What up, Pete?
And he, it takes one win to turn this team around. And, the next game that the Flyers have is with the Devils. If you can get that win, which the Flyers were close against the Devils. That was not a game they lost by a massive score. They just lost it in the third period. They had tied the game up, and then they made a stupid fucking play in the defensive zone that cost them the game. So, you get that win on the Devils, not only does that instill confidence in you by getting that game, you also beat a rival that beat you before. That definitely recharges the batteries a little bit and gets you going. It makes you say, okay,
Yeah.
you know what? It's not all lost. We just beat the Devils, and now we can go forward with some confidence moving in. And then you got Arizona on Saturday. You might be able to take advantage of that on Saturday and get some more victories under your belt. Maybe if the Flyers play their cards right, maybe it's shooting for the moon. But if you could get 3 wins to close out the week, maybe the Flyers are back. And maybe they've got that confidence back in their stride.
Right. Maddie, dig this comment real quick. This is from Twitter on a posted it off the Hockey Happy Hour page. They go, Max goes, if Flyers hire Rick Tocchet, trade Claude Giroux to Ottawa for Brady Chicago, butchered that, dump JVR's contract and sign Johnny Gaudreau, would that not be the quintessential Philly solution?
I think that'd be a new version of the Philly special right there.
But to go along with what you were saying earlier, I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I said he must have heard the rant.
He must have. He must have.
Well, we all know Brady Tkachuk ain't going anywhere, and from what I understand, Johnny's staying in Calgary too. But I mean, Brady Tkachuk is a centerpiece in Ottawa. He's not going anywhere. We just gave him the fucking captaincy for crying out loud.
Well, they'll strip him of that, and they'll strip Giroux the same day, and they'll both go and get C's on the other jerseys the same day. Since we're going crazy, we might as well just go full bore with it. First time in history in the NHL, 2 captains got stripped at the same time and then got promoted to captain on opposite teams on a trade at the same time.
Real quick, according to Elliot Friedman, I'm surfing around for Twitter for these rumors of Rick Tocchet in Philadelphia. I needed some
You need to get the confirmation,
right? But right now, the rumors, according the fridge, there is the potential candidates for the Flyers head coaching job: 1, Rick Tocchet; 2, John Tortorella; 3, Jim Montgomery, and then on the maybe list, Travis Green, David Quinn. David Quinn let go of the New York Blue Shirts there. That's kind of interesting too.
Really, Jim Montgomery? Is he the guy that I think it was that had the issue in Dallas?
Yep.
Yep.
I don't like either 2 or 3 there. That's why I skipped immediately to the maybes.
That was like when I heard the Flyers
fucking bust.
Yeah. To complete that Philly special, you bring in Bobby Ryan. Yeah, that would complete it. That would complete that Philly special right there.
Still free agent. He's still on the market, from what I understand.
Oh, well, there you go. But anyway, honestly, with those names you threw out there, that was like when I heard that Dallas Eakin had interviewed for the Flyers head coaching position back in the day. I'm like, fuck no. Fuck no. Are you out of your mind?
And look at him now.
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of Rangers fans that were not fans of David Quinn, but I kind of liked what he was trying to do there. You know what I mean? Like, that could be a plan B, maybe even a plan C or whatever, but they'll get talked, man. That's just, I'm not even saying homer. I mean, like, he's had some successful runs. He has that experience, and he's a great players head coach, the exact antithesis of AV. And if that was your issue, then maybe that could turn it around.
Do you see? It sucks that his experience came from Arizona, but there's a huge lack of talent there, which is why he didn't succeed.
Right.
He also did coach Tampa, but that was also during Tampa's down period before they got Steven Stamkos and built. I'm not against getting Rick Tocchet, but I think Mike Yao deserves a shot. Give him to the end of the year, and if not, you go get Rick Tocchet. To be fair, go ahead, Brian. Finish that. Rick Tockett's not. I'm sure he's not in a rush to get a coaching gig. He's on TNT right now. He's going to pay some buku bucks to sit on a set with Wayne Gretzky. Are you fucking kidding me?
I tied my tongue and I just spread it around like fucking COVID.
But I mean, I would say, yeah, I would say honestly, Yao, I'm fine with Yao. Honestly, I from what I saw yesterday, it seems like maybe it was a little bit of reaction to the firing of AV and Therrien. But at the same time, though, maybe there is a little bit more to it. Maybe Yao kind of figured, maybe he knows what's the problem with the Flyers and he can solve it, and I'm willing to give him a shot. I'm willing to give Yao a chance because he is a proven head coach. It's not like he has no head coaching experience, and he has successful head coaching experience. So I'm perfectly fine with getting him.
He's helped turn the defense around. He really has.
He did.
And right away when I first heard this news or whatever, I immediately thought, oh, Chuck's, he's gonna, that's his boy. He was his head coach in Minnesota when he was the GM there. Right. Mm-hmm. So of course he's going to give him a little bit of shot despite the, he's the interim for tonight comment. Right. Maybe being a little bit coy there, what have you. But do you think maybe biasness of having a previous working relationship hurts the Flyers here in this case? I mean, I know where you stand, Brian.
I mean, honestly, I think it does. Well, I think the bias always happens. And I mean, it doesn't even matter that it was Fletcher with Yao in Minnesota. Flyers constantly had the bias beforehand with former Flyers coming in and coaching teams. So I don't really think it's all that different. You know what I mean? I don't think it. The only time, any time I'd ever seen a massive leap was when Wayne Cashman was coach for a weird reason for the Flyers. And then that's weird that I've had to mention that the last 2 times I've been on the show. And then on top of it as well, also Dave Haxtell was a massive experiment. But other than that, they've really been keeping up with a lot of former players have come in and tried to be coaches of this team or former executives on the team or what have you, have been behind the bench for the Flyers at one point or another. And so I don't really think it's out of the realm of the norm. I think it's just kind of fits perfectly in the norm in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Because of the history.
I do. But what if Talk comes in and he's had that, the failure side of being a head coach and learned from it, and now's the time. And he just guides us back to Broad. The whole bring it to Broad. Well, it's not happening now.
Maybe. Again, maybe.
Amelia
saying, calling us bozos.
Hi, Kyle.
Meanwhile, you took the time to comment on the show, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. Amelia saying, bottom line, 7 coaches or more in total mediocrity during Giroux's time. He dropped the mic. Dropped the mic. I mean, again, I don't blame Giroux for that. I blame most of it just being the organization not getting its shit together, really, if anything.
Claude Julien's an interesting one. I think he could be a decent fit here. Peter DeBoer's already got a gig. He's in Vegas.
Yeah. I mean,
Julien, that's an interesting one.
Julien, he did turn the Canadians into a nasty, feisty little son of a bitch, and that actually earned them a bit of a rep, and they lived up to it.
Boston.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, that might not be a bad option to throw out there that you can go get Claude Julien. I'm just wondering, would he be willing to take the job? Because, and this is just my opinion, I could be dead wrong in this, but after what happened in 2020, would he be so quick to jump at the opportunity at a job? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know the man, but, he did have a big health scare. So, I don't know. Maybe he isn't so keen on going back to the head coaching position because, it's always going to be a stressful job, especially in Philadelphia. It's just, I don't know. That's the one thing that gives me pause of maybe he won't want another head coaching job. But I could be wrong. I don't know the man. Maybe he's willing to throw it out there. But anyway.
I mean, right job jumps out at anybody. It's. I mean, did you really think Bruce Boudreau, who had a cushy little job at the NHL Network, or do you think he was going to take another head coaching job again at his age? No, he did.
That's true. He did.
If the right job comes along, absolutely, he'll jump at the. I mean, especially with a organization that has a history like Philly. You know what I mean? He's coached in major markets. He's been one of those smaller market coaches where he's coming from like
low pressure to high pressure. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, kind of like a low in the spotlight to one of those major market teams is like jumping from, let's say, San Jose to Philadelphia. He's been in the major markets, so he's had a lot of spotlight and a lot of eyes on him.
I mean, how much more
he's familiar with.
Yeah, how much more of a bigger spotlight can you get that's just beaming down on your head than Boston and Montreal? You know what I mean? Those are 2 very, very tough markets to make it in.
Mm-hmm. And he's had success in both. And again, like I was saying earlier in the show, I think this team just needs to clean up the little intricate parts of the game, and I think they will be okay. And they need to play with confidence. That's the biggest thing, is the confidence factor of this game. But again, Mike Yout's the type of coach that he can also help clean up those intricacies that they seem to be failing at, as far as puck control and just sloppy play overall. And maybe Claude Julien could be that guy to get the offense going. Could be.
Maybe.
Could be. And then you can keep Mike Yout as the defensive guy.
Berto? Hello? Are you okay?
It's not me. It's not me. That wasn't me.
That's Frank.
That's Frank. I don't know why Frank came on the screen. That wasn't me.
Random. Well, with that spirit of randomness, before it gets too late in the show, I did want to address a little elephant in the room. Can we just give praise to our man Brian Daly and superior backdrop that he's got going on right now with his shrine to the Anaheim Ducks?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
With those awesome jerseys that the Ducks, that they had for quite some time, that I wonder if they'll actually go back to. Do you think they'll go back to them for regular, or do you think that that's just nah?
No, I think they're going to modify it to something similar to that.
Gotcha.
Maybe give you a little mixture of, you still get that vintageness to it with the logo and some of the color scheme to it. But I think they're going to stick with the modern look.
Okay.
Which is essentially what that one was. They just threw all the colors on. Anaheim won by score 2-0, by the way.
They're still at the top, or did they go down?
No, they're in third place in the division. Edmonton's gone on a little bit of a tear, and Calgary's playing really, really good hockey right now too. So
Gotcha.
they're still hanging around though. They're hanging around.
Yeah.
They're competing with teams. They got a point last night with a shootout loss to Washington. What a game that was, by the way. And shut out the Buffalo Sabers. So let's go.
Right, but if you guys had to hire one of these guys as the next head coach of the Flyers, who would you pick? John Tortorella, Ralph Dellavecchio, Coach Jack Riley.
Jack Riley, because it's not worth winning if you can't win big.
Robbie.
I'm going with our own Ralphie D, man. He fires the educated Flyers comments in the WhatsApp group. He knows shit. Anybody but Tortorella. How about that?
I would love to see it. I just got to see how he would handle it. I got to go Ralph. I want to see what Ralph would do. I just want to see him in the suit.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Did you fall?
Oh my God!
Ralphie loses it behind the bench and goes crashing through the plexiglass boards into the pellet.
Oh, that's funny. Ted actually has something to say to Brian. It's like, gotta ask, why do you keep saying Anaheim Ducks? We're not saying the Philadelphia Flyers or the Colorado Avalanche.
Sorry, boys. I was listening to Z's interview. They're talking about the goal. His reaction on the bench is fucking priceless. Like, he's a kid that's absolutely in love with this game, and I absolutely I love his energy that he brings. Like, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, I gotta see that from before.
What about having John Tortorella? Tortorella or Joel Quenneville, Sorry, Ant, I misread your
John's comment. The backdrop makes it look like Brian's when he's watching Pornhub, but it actually goes to the Disney Plus app.
It's like he's spying on me or something. John, get out. Where are you, sitting on my balcony right now? Weird. It's weird. What am I doing right now? Tell me. Joel Quenneville's blacklisted, though. I don't think he's ever going to have another coaching job in the NHL.
I don't know if I would say that, but it'll be a while before they would be willing to do it. I think the NHL would bring him back if things like after a long period of time has passed and he still wants to coach. But I think right now, no. He's not coming back anytime soon.
Or you even look at the trash can scandal in MLB. Basically it was like a year and a half, and you know what I mean. They sat out of baseball, and then you know what I mean. Like, I get it that it had to be done. You know what I mean. To step down, not to be a distraction from the team, like during this investigation, and ultimately, even if you don't know things are going on, it's under your watch. You're the head coach of the team, right? So you're going to get that stigma, but I think that would be a lot different of a stigma if either he was in part covering it up or was the actual perpetrator, is my point. So I think
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but the fact that it's considered sexual assault and he was hiding sexual assault versus that situation, it's apples and oranges, in my opinion.
True. I mean, see, the reason
for that reason, he's never going to coach again. If he had done what AJ Hinch did, yeah, he's going to get another coaching job. But it's much bigger than that.
The only reason why, sorry, Rob, didn't mean to do that. I was gonna say, to me, I was thinking the only reason why I said that was because the NHL really was very soft-handed with the Blackhawks. So, and they've been pretty soft-handed with everything that came out on that for the most part. So, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if enough time passed and all of a sudden they said, okay, Joe Quimble's coming back. I know there might be controversy, but the NHL seems to not care. At least in my opinion, from the way they handled it, they don't care.
I'm sure they're not even. Like we were talking about weeks ago. I'm sure they're still figuring things out and going as fast as. I don't even want to necessarily say as fast. They're handling it with. How can I put it? They're handling the situation as it comes along and as more information comes out. And I'm still sure you're going to see things happen still. I think you're still going to see guys suspended, anybody that was involved. You're starting to see names come off of the cup from that 2010 team. You're still going to see things happen here, and I think the organization is going to pay a little bit of a price as time continues to go along here with that situation. And I just don't think they want to come off as brash and just making brash decisions with fines and suspensions and other stuff. I think they're handling it right, personally, and taking their time and making sure that the right punishments fit the crime.
Gotcha.
Yo, all right. Can I just say,
Rob, go right ahead.
Adversely, that Zegras pass to Milano for the goal, that's a play for the year kind of candidate.
That's what I'm saying.
I just watched it. That's why.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
It moved. When it happened and I watched it live, it moved.
Go watch that, Maddie.
I'll watch it. I will. But Ted did have a funny comment because he had said earlier to you, Bride, why do you say the Anaheim Ducks? We don't say the Philadelphia Flyers or the Colorado Avalanche. Then he followed it up and he said, I don't think it would be good for Ralphie's health to coach the Philadelphia Flyers of the Pennsylvania of the United States of America.
That's true.
That's some good trolling right there, Ted. I love that. Very well done. But Jesse said,
that's bullshit or that's fucking bullshit. Those are Ralphie's two lines. And you know what? As an NHL coach, I'm pretty sure that line's used a lot in some penalty decisions there. That's fucking bullshit.
Yep. Now let me dive into our second and third period sponsors here. So our second period sponsor, something that actually very important. Many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We are happy, though, that the ATD has been supporting the Counseling Center Sunrise Detox for a while. They actually just had a recent toy drive, actually, that we were able to, Tom Lornone was able to be there and everything. So that was great to see. And basically, the reason why we support them is because, addictions are a very real, painful thing. They affect everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what background you have. And also mental illness too. The same thing. Doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight, doesn't matter. It affects everybody, and so go get the help that you need to go get, or get a loved one the help that they need to get, because we don't want to see you going through that. And so you give them a call at 856-651-8117. Get that taken care of, because that's very important. We don't want to see your life turn into a tailspin with things like that.
Also go, oh, look who it is.
Oh my God.
It's Don Don.
Don's here.
Hey, baby butts, what's up?
Don, what's up, brother? I was actually giving praise to the Red Wings earlier that they're actually looking competitive for once. And by the way, congratulations on the 1 W that your team now has. Good job. You guys earned that. You should, hopefully you guys aren't too crazy out there.
Real quick, though, but if you do have some free time, you have some extra toys laying around, you have a little extra cash for Christmas, you want to do something really nice, go grab a toy, go buy a toy, something. Head on over to Sunrise Detox, drop it off for the Toys for Tots drive, and do something good. Help somebody a little less fortunate than you, and give a kid something to open for Christmas. And I can't push that anymore, even if it's something minuscule. It's something for a kid who's really, really, really going to appreciate it. So
yeah,
head over and then help donate for the Toys for Tots for those kids up there.
Absolutely.
I know Robbie does a really good job up there, Rob Lutman, and help him out to help somebody else out and give a kid a Christmas present this year.
Absolutely. And third period sponsor for us, Fan Up. So if you decide to take advantage of Willie Vegas's advice or the Money Pot podcast, you could take some of those earnings and you can use you could take some of the advice and use it for Fan Up. It's the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use the promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, which is a $50 value. All you got to do is go to fanup.app, download that sucker, and next thing you know, you're making yourself some money, man. You're getting paid to be an A2D member. Because those guys ain't going to steer you wrong at Money Pot. And Willie, they ain't going to steer you wrong. All right.
Don, did you see that goal tonight? This is the goal of the year, bro. And by
Delicious.
the way, that was a tough loss tonight for you guys. What was it, 5-2?
Yeah.
That was a brutal loss there for you. Dude, that goal though, like I can't get that out of my mind. And just watching Trevor Zegras' reaction that's a kid.
He's like, did that just flip and happen right now? Yeah, it did. We scored.
Well, apparently he was planning on doing the Michigan. According to me, he's like, I realized I had time. They weren't pressuring me, and then just all of a sudden I heard Sonny. I heard Sonny calling for it. I was like, oh, okay, here. Boop. Flipped over. He's like, one of the two things was going to happen. It was either going to hit the goalie in the back of the head, or Sonny was going to boop, and he did. He's great hand-eye coordination.
I say Trevor's just built different.
Oh,
but
Frodo, that's not nice.
What did he do this time?
He sent a photo. That's not nice.
Oh my god.
That's why I hate that Zoom button.
But let me see here. So
I miss this though. I miss him torturing me on a weekly basis.
Oh, hey, it's always good to see it. And also, that Gordon Bombay thing, that was amazing.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. We had to get together for the holidays. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
I love how you didn't say name that movie because you knew everybody was going to get that one. God, they keep showing it on ESPN.
Slightly adapted. Yeah.
It's just filthy. He is Don. He is built differently. This kid is.
So let me throw out the overtime sponsor before we get to our shootout segment, and then we wrap this sumbitch up. So, finished up here, all campus. home of A2D Rant Booth, which you can tune into and see. John Coyle, who runs that, great place, awesome guy. And it's giving 20% off everything in the store, including hats, shirts, and their team cornhole sets to all subscribers. So get subscribed up, and you get yourself 20% off. You can wear your team colors with pride down there. So definitely check that out. Look into that. And all right, Jen. So before we do the shootout, any other topics around the league you guys wanted to talk about? My
I
computer.
think I covered it all earlier. I mean,
Okay, brother. I just saw that photo. Shut on the screen.
That's brutal.
You know what? I think John also has to take 50% of that blame because he's the one who he inspired it. Oh my god! But anyway, this is it's the first time we've heard an "I quit" comment in a while from you. Because you've quit the show like 50 times. When that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. And
I'm
Don
just
not
he
saying
doesn't have his full arsenal back there tonight. I know he's got a bunch of them, but I know he doesn't have a full one.
Don not saying Matt and Pove, don't worry. Once you guys get your new coach, I feel like the Flyers are going to turn things around.
Right.
Thank you, Don.
That's what I'm
I appreciate that.
hope so.
And
That's what I'm
hopefully
saying.
your
That's
Red
what
Wings
Mike
stay
could be that
competitive
guy.
this year and snag a wild card spot. And Emilio saying, I think they re-signed Risto. And great show. Have a good night, guys. Thanks, Dan. Take it easy,
Appreciate
brother.
you, Dan. Always.
Bri, did you have anything from around the league that you wanted to talk about?
Not off the top of my head, no. I mean, other than all the coaching changes that have happened this year so far, and it's only December 7th.
Yeah, as we already mentioned what happened with Vancouver right before I did the rant. So,
oh, and by the way, speaking of, I'm glad you brought that up. Just a little positivity for you guys. First game at Bruce Boudreau. Completely different team. Completely different team from what they were 2 nights ago. And they started playing a little bit more confidently with Bruce Boudreau. And let's be real. Bruce Boudreau, one of the Vancouver Canucks' biggest issues is their lack of offensive production from especially the bigger guys. Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat, who I think is their leading goal scorer with 7 goals. At this point, all 3 of those guys should be 15-ish. But when they won that game last night, you just saw a huge wave of relief come over those guys. I think that's what the Flyers need. They just need to get 1 win.
Yeah.
One win, and it's a game changer. And I do think Mike Yao could be a guy that could help get them back to where they were.
It's interesting. I did find that we haven't heard from Dan Mindel very much, so that must be why, huh? They've been struggling, the Vancouver Canucks there.
I didn't even think about that.
We might hear from him, though, if they go on a win streak.
Well, what's actually really funny is he messaged me last week. He's like, you guys aren't doing a show this week? No. I'm like, Robbie's having some issues and Maddie's out partying or doing whatever Maddie does.
Hanging out with a friend. I wouldn't necessarily call it partying, but, you know.
It could be a party. Pretty much.
I think Big Mama says it all, doesn't she? Or shit.
But yeah, just again, some positivity for you guys. Coaching change led to a big win. Big win led to the guys just absolutely letting loose. And a lot of times when you're in that situation and you continue to lose games, guys squeeze their sticks a little harder. They try to force more plays. They try to squeeze pucks into areas where they shouldn't be squeezed. And that sounded terrible. But it's true. They try and thread more needles and just force plays that aren't there. So once they get that 1 win, I think you see this team relax a little bit more and get back onto more of a winning side of the puck, winning side of the game than just what you're seeing right now, which is an unconfident team.
So, Brian, what you're saying is squeeze your stick properly. That's what you're ultimately saying.
It feels good. It feels good getting together for the holiday. I love it.
Yeah.
None, you missed this. I wish I could take a sabbatical from these two once in a while.
Oh.
It's
So,
freaking me out.
on that note, I think it's time we do the shootout segment to finish this
This
off.
thing is freaking me out. Like I had to close my messenger. That picture was just staring me in the face.
So, shootout sponsor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. They're in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They're our doc. Make them yours, and you can make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Great people over there. They worked on Brian's shoulder. They did wonders for him. They're a great team over there.
Yeah, they do. They're rock stars over there. They're really the best in the biz at what they do, and I'm a better person because of it. Holy hell. Jesus, I don't know who that was for Toronto. No look between the legs leading to a goal. No look between the legs. And then leading to a goal by William Nylander.
Nice.
I'll tell you who it's not. It's not Mitch Marner who was out of the lineup today.
No, he was not. He was not.
Benny's Nation. Good lead into the shootout. Grabbing your stick too tight. Oh. A lot of stick grabbing going on around here. You can leave that to interpretation. But anyway, so let's do the shootout, ladies and gentlemen.
I wanna.
Too bad it's happening.
I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Well, you're about to get more uncomfortable because you're up first. Hot take of the week.
I got a good one. Relevant to the show. Flyers go on a 3-game winning streak.
Damn it, that was going to be mine. Damn it.
You know what? Fuck you, Matt.
Listen.
Just kidding. Yeah, Flyers go on a 3-game winning streak. They break the 9-game skid, and they go on a 3-game.
All right, then. Robbie, what's your hot take?
My hot take is, I mean, it's not so much of the week, but it's of what I believe is going to happen in this year. The Florida Panthers will win the Atlantic Division.
All right.
Is that hot?
I don't necessarily
know how hot
think so.
that is because I believe they can. I absolutely believe that. They're playing really, really good.
Really good. Really
I said this to a couple people I usually talk hockey with over at work, and I would say, one or two things going to happen to either Carolina or Florida. One of them is going to win their division, and they're going to win the President's Trophy, and they're going to fuck themselves in the playoffs because they won the President's Trophy. It's going to happen to one of them. But no, I don't necessarily think it's that much of a hot take. I'd be surprised if Florida doesn't finish in the top 3 or hell, top 2, honestly, with the way they've been playing. If they finish outside of the top 2, I'd be real shocked if that happened. But, all right. For me, hot take, since Bryce stole mine, I'm going to go with Flyers on that 3-game win streak. I'll piggyback off of it. 3-game win streak, either Martin Jones or Carter Hart post a shutout in one of those games. And that's big because the Flyers have not been able to do that in a while.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, no, it's not after dark. The girls left us for that. All the girls left that show. Hopefully they come back.
Although somebody did say that we should have an Instagram model for the coach of the Flyers, so that way anytime they score, they flash their boobs.
What was it? It was either Fan Friday or a show on Saturday. There was a Tory sighting.
Yeah, Tory was on. I think it was Money Pot on Sunday morning.
Was it Money Pot? Was it Money Pot?
Money
Yeah,
Pot.
it was Money. That's right. It was Money Pot. And I was like, we're going to make some money this day. Yes.
Yo,
That's right. So that's cool. I mean, she's still a strong part of ATD, but that's females are talented, man. They're movers and shakers. I've noticed that working around the business and the few gigs that I'm lucky to have. Right, when you get female talent, they're not going to be with you that long, and you understand that. You know what I mean? Because they shoot up like meteora. You know what I mean? And that can be described for the other two fights. We were blessed to have them on this program for a time. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Jacob Trouba killed a guy.
Oh, he did? Well, it's about time.
I don't even know who that was. Oh, that's scary. They're taking him off on a stretcher.
Ooh. God damn.
I didn't see who the player was. I thought it was 16 for the Blackhawks, and he hit the ice, and he just did not move.
Damn. I think that's the Rangers pissed off because Shesterkin got hurt. By the way, that happened during the Flyers game, and the Flyers had nothing to do with it. Had not a thing to do with it. Shesterkin just hurt himself.
That's scary. That's just scary, though.
Yeah. But anyway, Benny's Nation is saying, hot take, the dog shitting on the logo will be our new good luck charm. Take a page out of the Panthers book and throw plastic piles of shit on the ice after a big win. Oh, my God.
Well, they lost after that. They lost 7-4 to the Avalanche after that happened. So, I mean, I could still turn it around, but I'm sorry. I'm picking on Benny tonight.
Down to say my hot take: the Detroit Lions will win another game. Whoa! Oh, slow your roll there, bud.
Slow. Whoa! Whoa! Time out.
So fitting.
I hope it's true. I hope it's true just to see Goff's girlfriend again celebrate.
Oh my God. Another hot take.
I got distracted at work when that happened. When I saw that.
Another hot take.
My reaction was, I need to be a professional athlete.
Yeah. Don't we all? He's saying another hot take. Somebody out of you three will hit the lottery this week. Good luck, fellas. Well, thank you. And Benny's Nation saying, all good, Brian. But anyway.
It's all good. It's always all good, brother.
So, so that's our hot takes for the week. And then our final two would be Game of the Week and Player of the Week. Bri, what you got for me?
Oh, the Player of the Week.
I think we already know that answer, don't we?
That one. It's Z. It's Trevor Z.
TZ, we all know.
If you haven't seen it, seriously, look up the highlight. He flipped the puck over the net to Sonny Milano, whose hand-eye coordination is unbelievable. Brodo, did you watch it yet? Please tell me you watched it.
Probably just going to get a bunch of quacks in return. But
yeah, he doesn't like to respond to me anymore. He doesn't love me anymore. That's fine. Yeah. Player of the Week, Player of the Week, Player of the Month, Player of the Month, Trevor Zegras.
Oh, well, that's Frank. That's not Brodo.
There is no Ryan, only Zool.
Ah, he disappeared. And what a lovely singing voice you must have. But anyway.
Well done, Maddie. Well played. See? I watch some good films every once in a while. The third one was really good. I don't know if you saw it yet. The third one was really good.
I've not actually. I have to watch that actually. I do. I have to wipe out the taste of my mouth. I wasted money on the new Resident Evil film. I thought that they were actually going to be good because they had all the window dressing.
I enjoyed it.
I did not. It's funny because I went with my brother, and my brother had the exact same reaction. It's like, I thought the film was fine, and I was so fucking mad. I hated it. Oh my God.
What you expected a Resident Evil movie should have been. They took games 1 and 2 and they molded it together.
I thought they'd do a better job of it. They freaking made Leon out to be a fucking wimp, and they fucking didn't do anything right with Wesker. I mean, fuck that. At least the last series got that right. I mean, goddamn. But anyway. But
I like that they didn't make it exactly like it again because it's less predictability.
Yeah. But I will say this though, at the ending scene when Wesker says to Ada, like, "What do you want from me?" I actually said in the theaters, like, for you to stop making Resident Evil films. That's what I want from you. But anyway, enough with that.
Just
moving on.
Just a hater. What's up, man?
Do the Flyers finally win tomorrow, or do we get another L? I think
get the
our hot takes is that it's a win for us. Brian, what's your game of the week?
Oh, you know what? I have no idea. Who's playing?
That's a good question.
I'll jump in with mine real quick because I have it I watched this game last Saturday actually late at night on the replay because I get New York channels where I live too, and it was the Rangers Blackhawks game Saturday night, a 3-2 thriller for the New York Rangers win, and it was just good seeing two original six teams, back on their way up. Blackhawks having a nice go at it as of late. The Rangers also, turning things around for their organization. But that was just a tightly fought game. That was a damn good game that I watched there.
That's a good choice.
I got it.
All right, Brian, what you got?
Same night. Toronto Maple Leafs and Minnesota Wild. It was a 4-3. You want to talk about a thriller?
Yeah.
That game. Whew. Back and forth.
Nice.
Just energetic hockey. I mean, unfortunately, Minnesota took a 3-0 lead and kind of let them back in, which kind of made it more exciting. But to see a team like Minnesota just go up 3-0 on Toronto, a team that's been playing just outstanding hockey for the past month and a half, 2 months, I think this Minnesota team is going to be the real deal. They are very good. They are very fast, and they know how to score, and they score in different ways. But, again, let him back in, and Austin Matthews had a couple goals. Can we talk about how good he is real quick? Like, it's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
It's disgusting.
So he's your player of the week,
Yeah.
I mean,
something else that I meant to talk about tonight. Jason Spezza getting suspended for 6 games.
Oh, yes, the kneeing incident. Yes, very serious situation. And someone I follow, the guys I follow on YouTube brought this up. There has been a slight uptick in those, and there's been a slight uptick in slew footing too. It's like I think the league needs to start really cracking down on that because you can hurt someone, you could damage someone real badly with that. So they need to start cutting that shit out. But anyway,
sorry, it's funny that you mentioned kneeing. Because Scheifele just got kneed not that long ago.
Oh
probably
my God.
within the last few minutes. Ian Cole got him.
Jesus. It's just, they gotta start cracking down on that because we saw back in the day when it was commonplace, how many players went out for long extended periods of time due to knee-to-knee contact.
And wasn't one missed in one of the 2 Flyers last games? I recall.
Yeah, the Travis Konechny got nailed pretty bad. And they didn't call it, which is what pissed me off so much when I texted you guys. It's like, so you don't call that, but you call the bullshit, the trip that they put on McKinnon in the 3rd period.
Right.
Fuck you. Seriously.
Right.
It's like either call.
Yeah.
Either you call it even or don't fucking call it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not right.
But it's a lot of sloppy play going on. That's just sloppiness when it's being a lot of times, it's not exactly intentional, but you're responsible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to jump back to Spezza, it was an unfortunate situation, which I kind of felt like what happened with the whole Corey Perry thing.
Right.
Spezza had enough time to really avoid it, but I forget who it was for Winnipeg before he got kneed in the side of the head. Didn't have a stick in his hand and went low,
I saw that
to try and
too.
play the puck with his hand. It was brutal. Like, Spezza had enough time to avoid the hit and still went through with it. But as a player who doesn't have a stick, you need to be aware of your surroundings as well. Both players are at fault. I think it's probably a little bit more lengthy for Jason Spezza than I think he deserved because he's not that type of player. 3 games I thought would have been fair. But, again, both players to be at fault. Jason Spezza needs to be better. He's been around a long time. He should know better. And then as for the player from Winnipeg who played him, kick the puck. Kick the puck. You put yourself in a bad situation. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Just kick the puck. Kick
totally
it.
Better.
Yeah. Plus, also, if you're going to play the puck with the hand, you can always run the risk of getting called for closing your hand on the puck, even though it would have to be blatant, but you don't want to give the ref the opportunity to make that kind of a call.
Right. Absolutely.
But May's Nation's who knew you were going to get that production like this from Hartman? Yeah.
13 goals already on the season, man. It's remarkable.
He's been playing great. He's just picking good situations to shoot the puck, and his release this year has just gotten so much quicker, and it's allowing a little bit more velocity on his shot, and he's just been unbelievable. His line mates help with that too. So again, I think this Minnesota team is finally the real deal. I think they can finally get over the hump, and I could see them potentially, if they keep up the play, they could be a candidate for the Western Conference Finals, especially if Cam Talbot keeps up the play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But Rob, did you give your player of the week?
I did not. I'll give it here in a second. I was just looking. Yeah, they have Hartman playing with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Wow, that's nice. That's real nice.
It's nice when you got 97 on your side.
Right, absolutely. My player of the week, a young player for Tampa Bay Lightning, got his first goal in fantastic fashion. That's Taylor Radish. I don't know if you boys saw that going end to end, just coming in one-on-one with the goaltender and putting it behind them when they were playing. I believe they were playing the Stars. No, not the Stars. I forget what team it was against. But anyway, congratulations to him. You get my player of the week for sure.
Yeah. So my player of the week, Austin Matthews. Just being Austin Matthews. There's not much else to say. He is who he is. He's one of the best players in the league. It'll be a long debate. Who's better, McDavid or Matthews? That'll be the new Crosby-Ovechkin debate. But with that, my game of the week is actually going to be Columbus and San Jose. It was a wild fucking score-happy game, and I thought it was fun. When you see games like that where both teams are scoring like this, going back and forth, I don't know. It's just fun to see old-style like games where everything is wide open and everyone's scoring on even if they sneeze at the puck. It's like, oh my God, it's like the 80s. It's just fun to see games like that when they go crazy like that. So that's going to be my game of the week. Wish the Sharks had won, but it is what it is.
I mean, I agree with Ant. The culture has to change. That's the biggest issue.
It was the Bruins. I thought it was against the Bruins. Anyway, sorry. I was still stuck on that point.
All good. So real quick before we go, a little scoring update from today would be Tuesday the 7th, not Monday the 6th. Real quick before we go, we got the Ducks winning by a score of 2-0. In the closing minutes of the third period, it is tied up 3-3 between the Panthers and the Blues. Hurricanes are up 4-2 over the Jets late in the third period. During the second intermission, Rangers and Blackhawks are tied up at 2 apiece.
Speaking of that matchup, they have it again.
Yeah, Blackhawks.
I noticed that the NHL and the NBA has been doing that too, which is really smart to still reduce on traveling that they'll have, especially in the NBA. You'll have like 2 games in 3 days, all in the one city. You know.
Oh yeah. That's for some of those teams that actually have those multiple teams in one city. It's a huge benefactor.
Yeah.
Right. Well, even though it's the same matchup, same team, you know what I mean? They'll play like back to back, like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like, or in quick succession.
Yeah, I think they do that with Florida a lot too. A lot of teams go down and they play Tampa, and then they play Florida, or vice versa. They do that a lot too when they do the Florida trip.
I thought how Maddie said it was just how I thought you were breaking it down. Late in the second period, Wild up 2-1 over the Oilers. There's one game waiting to be played, and that's Calgary and San Jose coming up at 10:30. So any minute now they'll be dropping the puck on that one. Maple Leafs defeat the Blue Jackets by a score of 5-4. Lightning defeat the Canadiens by a score of 3-2. Islanders finally break their 11-game skid with a 5-3 victory over the Ottawa Senators. And the Red Wings drop a heartbreaker to the Nashville Predators by a score of 5-2.
All right, then. So that pretty much wraps up this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. Let me go check my calendar here because I just want to see if next week, yes, we do. Next week we have a game, and it'll be the Flyers going up against the Devils. Boy, they seem to be facing the Devils a lot in this portion of the schedule, don't we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they'll be in Philadelphia. I believe the game this week is on the road. I believe they're going back up to the Prudential Center to take on the Devils. So this one will be in Philadelphia this time. So we will be doing that next week. So we got a rivalry game next week, fellas. We've got the Flyers going up against the Devils. Oh, boy. And, I mean, that first game definitely left a bad taste in Flyers fans' mouths. Maybe the Flyers can get revenge on Wednesday night, and then we'll see what the rubber match has for us on Tuesday next week. Anyway, thank you, Don. But that's next week here on the Hockey Happy Hour. We thank you all for joining us once again. We are brought to you by our great sponsors, Specialized Physical Therapy. We have Fan Up. We have EXP Realty. We've got Sunrise Detox Counseling Center. We, of course, have All Campus. We've got Manscaped. No junk funk, guys. And also Gleason's Bar. And, of course, Body Check Wellness. Use the promo code to get 25% off of your order with great products using hemp and THC-free products as well. Helps you with focus, clarity, dieting, and whatnot. So look that up. That'll do great things for your life and just getting balanced and getting focused. But anyway, guys, we thank you all for joining us. I am Matt Sassuti, along with the Darkwing Brian Daly. And the broken one himself, Rob Povia.
Good night, fam. Happy holidays. Let's enjoy this time of year. It'll be
Absolutely.
hopefully a little cheery despite the Flyers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, definitely. And I think Don sums it up best. Good night, everybody. Just like your stick, sleep tight.
And just like Jim Carrey said, the Grinch didn't necessarily hate Christmas. He hated people, which is fair.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is true. So, guys, we'll see you next week for the Flyers versus the Devils.
Loathe entirely.
And we will see you guys next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Peace and love, everyone.
Stay safe, everybody.